There's like a lot of good stuff that we talk about in that episode.
If I start saying niggas a lot, that's how you know that I'm getting passionate. Like when I start just referring to every pronoun as a nigga, it's a good episode. It's a good moment.
Yeah, it was really good. Very heartfelt too. At some moments, I was like, "Damn, these two niggas really is niggas."
I love it. See, this is why I love Status Check, because when we do like Back of the Rack, I'm always like, gotta be proper.
Yeah.
Just in case.
And it feels, what's so funny is that it feels even more proper now, doesn't it? Like taking out the intro, the whole,
because that's kind of what made it cool, because it's like, all right, they're chilling. But like, nobody watched that shit. Nobody watched past to actually get to the actual game discussion. They was just like, all right, bro, what the fuck? So in terms of reception, it's better that we do it this way. And besides, you get more of us just cutting the shit. So
yeah, because I know some people game that we're playing, you know. So now we can just talk about whatever the fuck we're doing in life, whether it's, you know, personal stuff. I mean, we could talk about video games, movies, whatever. We can just really just catch up, and that way our channel doesn't. I mean, not that it's not okay for the channel to just be old games, but it's cool to also talk about the new stuff that we're playing and like put something on that and talk about like the new movies that we're playing and give a space for that, as well as talk about like our personal stuff.
Yeah, because we make it sound like we just sit here and I only play the game, then I edit, then I figure out and I formulate. But it's like we have lives, so we play games on our own, we watch movies, we listen to music on our own, so
right, it's
nice to digest a little bit.
With our videos right now performing the best they ever have, I will be curious to see how Status Check sort of fills in like that space. You know what I mean? Like how is it going to perform? How are people going to take to it? I'm very curious where it's going to fit. I kind of feel like it's going to be like the most loved but the least watched. Like it'll be like the hardcore fans will be like, oh yeah. You know, but it's gonna be like 65 views. But it's fun. Like I like doing these. I look forward to it. You know, let's talk a little bit just about our channel and how that's doing, and how we're seeing a lot more consistent, and I don't want to say rapid, but like a consistent pace of growth with subscribers and views. How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling it as like it feels like it's ramping up a little bit, and I think your videos really help like sort of, you know,
wrangle them
attract other people. Yeah, like they wrangle them in and then they get into the other stuff, because it feels like there's different crowds. It feels like there's people that just like this, like the Sondi Selects, and find our channel through your videos. Yeah, and there's the people who find it through, you know, BOTR, but I don't know that they cross over. I don't know.
Maybe
YouTube doesn't give us those metrics. Yeah,
it all depends. Yeah, I feel like because I know we have plans, and I know like if my theory works out, the way it would work was that every niche of person would have a specific type of video for them. They would have the Sondi Selects, they would have the Declassified here, or they would have Status Checks or Back of the Rack, or even the beats. They would have everything in between of what they might like from us. So I think it'll work out. The only thing is really consistency at this point. That's the only thing. Yeah. I have this anxiety thing, and I was going to ask you about that, because you're a little bit more onto it more than me, like checking the analytics and stuff like that. I kind of just drop and I just freak out and like looking at it, and I go, all right, I'm gonna leave. I'll just come back to it in like 3 weeks and be like, oh, hey, it's at this point now. Okay, cool. Because it scares me. I'm not gonna lie, it genuinely scares me.
What specifically scares you? What do you mean? Like, so you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at like the view. What is it that scares you?
For me, it scares me primarily because I feel like I'm staring at numbers. You know what I mean? Because you get to a point to where you start refreshing, you start looking, you get one comment, and then you're like, hold on, okay, why did I get this? Because once it's easy to fall into the rabbit hole of how did it get here? How did the impressions hit? What's the click through rate? What's this? And I feel like once I start looking at that, it's not really constructive to me, I guess. Like, I like when you like proofread my scripts. I like when we get to each other and we go, hey, do you like this? Yes or no before I render this out. I like that, and I like the comments that talk about, like, hey, you should have talked about this, or hey, you should do this, or hey, blah blah blah, because I like the constructive criticism more on the craft. And I have been thinking about that a lot with the next script that I've been writing about how to up the craft of the videos more so than, because I feel like script and production wise we're good. I just feel like we just need to up, not production wise, but script wise we're good, but production wise we're not. So always try to strive to.
Like, do you mean with the Sondi Selects specifically, or?
Yeah, Sondi Selects, and just building out our brand of visuals. Because right now we have a checkered. That's us. Yeah. I see people with the checkered now. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, I saw one person streaming and they had the checkered background going in the background, and I was
scrolling?
Like, yeah, like the little scrolling checker. It looks smack like ours. Like it was like a random retro Twitch streamer that I like clicked on. They were playing like Castlevania or something, and I was like,
I want to scream so bad,
but I didn't want to say anything. But
yeah. I've thought about a lot of that as we get bigger. You know, how we pull a lot of like if you go to our YouTube channel, the back of the rack like banner that I designed has a little character from like a PC98 game, and then like it says like, oh, a video podcast featuring, you know, Bendez and Sondi. So like the image of that, I wonder if I was to get bigger, if we'll have to change her, because it's an existing character from a game or whatever. And then I also wonder that too with like just our like music that we use, which is pretty much all Ridge Racer type form, you know, like for the majority of it, a lot of it I try to find really obscure soundtrack music. Like for Status Check, you guys will see that it's I doubt any of you would be able to pinpoint where it's from, because it's such an obscure game, and a game that I've never played also, but it's just a soundtrack that I've listened to. Right. So I don't know, it'll be curious to see, like, and then how many people bite our style, like, which is, you know, I mean, I don't know, Sondi Selects kind of has a flavor, you know.
I've been experimenting a little bit with the last couple of videos. I've been experimenting, trying to see where I wanted to go, and I think I know now where I want to go. But also I know now where I want to go script wise as well too. I don't want to just be a showcase channel or video guy.
Right. Yeah. What are you trying to? In what direction are you trying to take Sondi Selects, like visually? Is that what you mean by experimenting visually?
Yeah, both visually and script wise. Because I realized that the MMO video is kind of a story. And I was kind of thinking about that in the sense of I have more fun writing the script and making the video when I'm, you know, just being nostalgic, story timing, talking about anything nostalgically that I have interest in, compared to, hey, I'm going to showcase these games. Because it gets to a point where if you don't showcase a game enough or showcase a specific part, people get upset or you kind of miss the point. I figured this out because I replayed Unison. That was one of the games I covered during the PlayStation 2 Rhythm Games video. I replayed it and I actually beat the entire game this time. And it completely retextualized how I originally thought of the game. Because, I mean, I still have the same thoughts. I still think it's a pretty good game, but I just think a little bit deeper of it now. I think it's a really good game, too. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I did it justice by just talking about it. Same with B-Boy. I don't think I did justice of just talking about it for 5-10 minutes in a video instead of giving it a full breakdown or even a full, like, this is why this is cool.
Yeah. Our scripts, even for, like, the back of the rack for this season, those intros or whatever, where, you know, we read it, those have been evolving a bit too. When I wrote the Eternal Sonata one, which you guys will have heard by this time this episode comes out, the Eternal Sonata script sort of write-up for Back of the Rack is very... I was reading it and writing it, and I was like, this is its own video. Like, it sounds so... like, it sounds so, like, very informative, and, like, I very much model it after the... there's, like, this gamers channel, and it's GVMERS.
You know, it's funny. When I do the voiceovers, that's exactly how the channel I think of.
Yeah. So they do like the fall of Call of Duty or the fall of Killzone and the tragedy of this game, and I really like the writing in it because it feels very like Wikipedia, but also editorial-esque. So I kind of, I don't know. I've been taking it in that direction, and when I read this last Eternal Sonata one, I was like, damn, this is like fleshed out. Like, I'm explaining the literal history of the game out of thin air too, because like there's not much history. Like, you put so much information in those documents, you know, and sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, and I have that torque off of. Then I have to go out and sort of find a little bit more to flesh it out, and then I have to like make it cohesive, and like, I don't want to make it just seem like I just copied it from Wikipedia. Like, I kind of want to give it a different flavor.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, they're just turning into this whole thing that I'm like, damn. And I knocked that, and they take a while depending on how long the game is, because like, the point of those intro scripts is essentially to get whoever is listening, right, is to get the listener to know exactly what the hell the game is and all the mechanics and a good amount of the story and a little bit of background, so that when we're fucking running our mouths about it in like the thought table,
they're not just thinking like, why don't we talk about this thing? And it's like, we know it's there, but it's not highlightable.
Exactly, yeah, and that was a thing too, where we would have to like stop and explain ourselves when we were like in the presentation or in the gameplay section, and be like, oh yeah, by the way, there's this whole thing where you do this and you do that. Like, you had to explain all that. But now that we've just written a whole article for it in the beginning of that show,
we can just talk straight about it. We don't have to get into it.
Yeah, and then everybody who watches, like, at least the first, it's usually like 10 minutes or something, will know exactly what the fuck kind of game it is, what we're talking about, the different elements of it. So it's like it's genius, and I hope I did it. We'll
nail in the coffin. I fuck with him. I fuck with him very heavily, especially because it just comes off like, I guess for me, a lot of people, from what I've seen from the reception that we've been getting since starting this season, a lot of people watch it thinking like, oh, this is like want to be one of those hour-long retrospectives on this game. Then they see the intro explaining it, and then watch the scripted part, and they go, oh, okay, this is what this is. And then they get into it. And I think a lot more people are now being like, all right, I like that. This is what I want. Yeah. Because there's not a lot of gaming. How many gaming podcasts do you listen to?
Just one. Two, actually. HPMP and Sacred Symbols, the PlayStation podcast.
Yeah. All I listen to is Castle Super Beast. I used to listen to Giant Bomb Cast, but I couldn't do it anymore. I don't know why. Sometimes you just fall off podcasts. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like HPMP feels like hanging out with friends, talking about games. Well, like friends I've never had about the games that I love, right? So JRPGs typically.
Yeah.
So I really like play. Like, it's funny, listening to that podcast makes me want to play games, right?
I feel you on that. That's how Super Beast is. But Giant Bomb is a little too corporate. When I listen to Giant Bomb, I'm thinking I'm listening to like NPR radio, but for games or some shit.
Oh, okay, interesting. I guess Sacred Symbols is a bit more informative and editorial, but it has a good mix because Colin, who is like the, I guess, showrunner, essentially writing the show, and a lot of where I get my inspiration from how we construct the show as well. He is very objective, and then he has two co-hosts, Chris Raygun and Dustin Furman, and they sort of bounce off of him very well because Chris
One's
is
the
very
joke guy
much,
and one's the
yeah,
straight
one's
man.
just like a, yeah. So like they all kind of had like, it's very balanced, and Colin, like he has some really great and salient points just about the gaming industry and games in general, and he has like you know, like he's considered like one of PlayStation's most knowledgeable writers, essentially. Like he's followed them so closely for so many years, because he was also in like PS I Love You from IGN, or I think that's kind of funny, and then also some other PlayStation podcast. Essentially, he's like been in almost every
He's the
significant
Sony man.
Yeah, but he's also not a fanboy, which is cool too. Like he's
Yeah,
not
that's
just
kind of
like,
cool.
so and he's just very smart too, you know. He's very well spoken, very smart. You don't feel like he's bullshitting you. It does feel like a podcast for adults and not fanboys. It feels like it, so I guess in some sense it does feel NPR-ish, because it's just not like a bunch of like
Kids yelling and screaming and being like,
Yeah,
"But Xbox
like, it's
doesn't
not-
have this exclusive."
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
Yeah.
not like HPMP, where it's like there's no structure. It's just like fucking niggas.
But that's
hanging
fun
out.
at sometimes. That I
It
really
is.
enjoy
Oh yeah,
that.
that's what you need the balance. You know, like you need the balance.
Yeah. You need the chaos
Yeah.
along with your. How many podcasts do you listen to? Let's go with that.
2. I just gave them to you.
That's it? Oh, just 2? I listen to like
Yeah,
7
that's-
podcasts. I have like a
wow,
podcast
really?
for like every day of the week. I have like them like
Oh,
scheduled out. Like
shit.
this podcast usually comes out on like a Monday or a Tuesday. This one comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday. This is my Thursday. Like I have them all to where I can just listen to them. Because I wake up super early. I wake up at like 6 a.m. every day. And nobody else does.
Okay.
So I just boop, put on my Raycons. Not sponsored yet.
Oh my god, Raycons.
I was one of those people that unironically bought Raycons, and them shits actually work. But nah, I just put on my headphones and I just make my coffee, make my morning breakfast, and listen to whatever my podcast is. Most of them are like an hour, 2 hour long, so it's not like it's like I'm listening to like an 8 hour
Yeah.
unsolved crime or some shit. Nah.
That's kind of wild though. That's a lot of podcasts. I used to listen to the Jordan Peterson podcast, and then Lex Freeman, and sometimes Joe Rogan. But yeah, I kind of stopped. I don't know why. I just didn't have the time, or I don't know. Sometimes like they were stressing me out. Some of
I
like
know
the
what you
topics
mean.
they would talk about, I'm like, this is so fucking
This is
deep.
extreme.
And then also, yeah, I kind of just felt like I think I'd rather just like read a book about it, because a lot of the information I wasn't even retaining properly because I couldn't really discuss it with many people.
Yeah, you were probably
So I
some
was
like
just-
educational podcast that would be like, hey, this is a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it was with there's one podcast I listen to, but I don't listen to it. I just see whatever the episode is, and if it interests me, I'll listen to it. Stuff they don't want you to know about. And
Yeah, I've
that's a
heard of
pretty
that
good podcast. And I remember back in the day when Epstein, like before Epstein like blew up, they did a episode on Epstein and was like, this is crazy. This is all happening under our eyes. And then like a year later, all this shit happened with Epstein, and they made a video. Like it was just like a like 15-minute podcast where they're like, we told you guys, we were telling you
Right.
guys, it's just screaming at everybody. But yeah, other than that, it was sports mainly. Sports. There's one about anime, one about video games, 2 about just like there's like 3 comedian podcasts I listen to, and then
Yeah.
one on gossip that my girl likes to like listen to, and she'll like have me listen to it so that she can talk to me about it. Like, did you hear about this listener letter on this podcast? That shit was crazy. And I'll be like, I heard it.
That's cool. I kind of wanted to get into more. Obviously, Joe Rogan has comedians on his podcast sometimes, like Andrew Schultz and like Bill Burr and other people like that. But yeah, ultimately, I don't know. I just feel like it's too much content for me to keep up with. Not that there's like, I guess there's like some pressure in some weird way to keep up with all this stuff, and I don't
feel
know.
you.
Sometimes I fall behind on like the 2 that I have, like the 2
Yeah.
podcasts that I have, and so I don't know. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, where could I even fit those other podcasts in? Because I feel like right now I'm always like, okay, my commute, I can listen to 15, 30 minutes of one of my podcasts. And I can't really listen to podcasts at work because I just can't focus on it. So then I'm like, wait, run that back, and I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's just hard for me. And then there's not, I'm not playing any podcast games recently. So
damn, we haven't been playing any podcast games. I've actually been trying to focus on games a lot more than like podcasting them out. Like, even with grinding sessions, I've been like, other than Eternal Sonata. I think Eternal Sonata, that was one of the ones I was like, all right, I'll put a random video on in the background that I've been waiting to watch. I'll put my watch later on finally, but I've been trying my best to actually sit the fuck down and focus on games. Yeah. But that might just be a me thing.
Yeah, I kind of I like that idea because I know you've mentioned that before, like just sort of really paying attention. Like not just consuming a game like it's fucking fast food, but just like really like thinking about it and watching it and paying attention to the sounds and all this. I think it's okay with some games because they really do feel like, okay, I've played this game for 40 hours and it's just grinding now. And
yeah, like the Division 2, you can definitely
Division 2, Diablo to a certain extent, know. Once it becomes muscle memory, then sure. But I don't think I listened to a podcast for Eternal Sonata for maybe 2 hours of my grinding. Like I was like trying to be in it and trying to like listen to it with headphones and really be, and maybe that's what drove us crazy in the end.
maybe we weren't supposed to focus on this game.
Yeah,
because Final Fantasy, I didn't really focus when we played that. That's another JRPG we played. Yeah. To be fair, Final Fantasy 12. Like, but to be fair, we had the fast forward button, so I can just made everything easier. And I don't think with Dirge I'll be podcasting through this. I played just the tutorial. My controller drifts too fucking much. I have to buy a new controller, so I'm on the back burner until
a PS2.
Yeah, for PlayStation 2, I gotta find some.
Yeah, let's get into some of this personal stuff that we've sort of talked about the last couple of weeks. One of the questions that you had was like, how often do you disassociate yourself from family and friends? And I kind of want to know. I want to know what you mean by that, or how you mean it.
Yeah, that's a pretty big word. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't use disassociate. That's a pretty extreme word to.
What? No, it's good.
But I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense in the like context of what I'm trying to say. But like, how often, for example, now that we're about to play Dirge of Cerberus, how often would like your friends or your girl would be like, "Hey, babe, come watch this show with me," and you'll be like, "Nah, I gotta play Dirge."
Yeah.
Like how often do you do that? Or like even just playing like your own personal games and stuff like that. How often do you just be like people will be like, "Hey, you want to go out?" And you're like, "Nah, I want to do this."
Damn. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's not maybe that's too deep a word. You're right. Disassociation.
Yeah, because disassociate, that's some depression shit.
Disassociate, you could call it a sort of escapism, like when you're playing, like when I played Control, like that was, I really was fucking.
But Control is a really good game. Like, did you read all of the documents and everything too?
No, I did not.
Oh, you're wild. So that's the best part. I was reading.
I realized
like, whoa, this is fucking cool.
Yeah, and you told me that like as I was finishing up the game, and I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm good. But I think since I started Alan Wake, I'm probably gonna go back and play the DLC, so that'll be a good chance to do that, which we can talk about later. But yeah, I feel like just yesterday, my cousin had a baby shower, and my mom attended, and she called me after, and she was like, hey, me and your aunts and some of your other cousins are gonna be at this bar, this restaurant bar, if you want to stop by. And I was just like, nah. Yeah, I'm trying to finish Miles Morales. And in my mind, it is always hard to do those decisions because even like today to some degree, like Elise like got up early and she went and did some errands, went to some thrift shops, and I stayed home and worked on stuff, and it's hard. It's often, but I feel like it comes in spurts. Like the reason I was so behind with Eternal Sonata was because I was giving people my time for a while. Like I was going with, to hang out with Elise, all day. And then by the time we got home, I was like really kind of too tired to play or whatever. Or,
Right.
on to like Wednesday or something, my mom would be like, hey, do you want to come and, meet me at this restaurant or whatever? And I'd be like, oh, okay, even though like I probably could have started playing Eternal Sonata earlier had I put that off. So it really just
Right.
comes in almost like waves of like, I'm cutting everybody off for now. And then like later I'll be like, okay,
I
like,
gotta hang out with everybody.
I got to hang out with everybody. But it's not, and I always feel guilty. Like, I feel like I never feel like, yeah,
That was good.
I always feel guilty. Like, at least for saying no, like I always feel like bad for myself, not even for like saying no to them, but just like I do like hanging out with people,
Yeah.
And yeah, to say like I'm just playing a video game, it just makes me feel like a loser sometimes.
I feel you. I feel you on that.
How often
only-
do you do it? Are you doing it?
I'm
often?
doing it right now. Yeah, no, it was what we usually. It's Big Brother season. It's a TV show, reality show. It comes on like 3 times a fucking week. So usually around these times, we all sit down and we watch Big Brother. But just so happened that 60 Minutes was running over, so Big Brother didn't start until we started. So it was kind of like, I already planned this out. I already knew.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, hey, bro, we can't record until 10 o'clock because I gotta watch Big Brother. Like, no, like,
Yeah.
I can just
Yeah.
catch it.
We could have done it earlier.
Yeah,
Remember
but
when-
yeah, I don't know. I was chilling all day, for real.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I would just get back. People were leaving my house. I was like, I don't feel like. I just want to chill for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel that.
yeah. I don't know.
So-
I just asked that question just because I've been on a triad. Like, of course, we had the entire bullshit I would call the first 6 months of this year. I like that whole situation of life. I don't know. I had nothing else to do, so I was playing video games.
Yeah.
It was work and
Yeah.
video games, and just mentally, all the shit that just is hard for me to be like, hey,
Balance
friend.
it?
I don't want to say balance it, but at this time in my life, to be like, hey, friend, let's hang out. Especially because I live from most of my friends, I live like an hour away. My mom, family, I live an hour and a half, 2 hours away. If I want to do anything fun, if I want to go to the city, if I want to go to Baltimore, Annapolis, DC, it's an hour and a half away. I work from home. My car isn't really the most reliable for long distance, which is
Yeah.
everywhere
Yeah.
but where I'm at. So it's like, which I would just run errands. So it's kind of like, for me, and plus I'm saving money so I can move. So it's like,
Right.
I don't want to spend money. That's why I've been playing so many video games this year, because I'm like, I'd rather just, instead of buying games like I was last, I would come in here and be like, hey, look at these 8 games I bought.
True.
But-
True.
But I've calmed down a lot because I've just been playing them now more. And I guess to fill the void of not having the friends come over every Friday night, or, hey, we're going to so-and-so's house today. All right, cool. I'll be over there after work. All right. Like, instead of having that now that I used to have, especially because everybody's getting older, everybody's getting married and having kids and moving and having careers of their own as well too. We can't really hang out as much. So to me, it's just best if I just beat these video games, save my money, and sit the fuck down. And it's kind of hard to balance that because sometimes even my roommates were like, hey, we want to go out, we want to do this. And I'm like, I'm not trying to spend money, I'm really trying to just sit here. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's really what I think. But I've been thinking about it therapeutically. Or I'm like, is it good? That's why I asked that question. Because I'm like, is it good? I was thinking about that because I'm like, everybody, there's people here, and I was just up here. I think I was playing Prey or Silent Hill, one of the two, because I beat both of those in like a day or two, and
Hmm.
I think I was just everybody like people came over, they came upstairs, was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Gotta keep, gotta keep playing this game." And I was like,
Yeah.
"That's not healthy." I was thinking about that, and I'm like, "Is this a coping mechanism for something, or am I just tripping and this is normal?"
Oh yeah. I mean, like you're really hitting on something that I've thought about myself many times, which is the amount, and we've we've talked about this in the last like status check too, but it's like the amount of time you spend playing games and the opportunity cost at that, it like, uh the opportunity cost essentially there, right? So
Right.
like you're playing games for, let's say, all day, you're losing out on your ability to connect with other people, to seize some random opportunity to make money, to do this with
I could open FL
to
Studio up for the first time in months. Oh my god.
yeah, you can, yeah, like there's so many things that you could be doing. It's an opportunity cost to be doing something in a meta world with fake achievements, fake goalposts, and you don't really get a real skill, uh so yeah, I mean, just depending, I guess, on how much, if the amount of games that you're playing, not you specifically, but whoever is listening, if the amount of games that you're playing is affecting your social life and your professional life and your personal health and all that, then obviously it's a problem. You're using it to cope, to escape, to disassociate,
Yeah, you need to sit back
with
and reflect and say, what else is going on right now that's got me feeling this way?
yeah, and this is actually goes into our next question that I had for you, which was about sort of how, like, right now. Okay, so let me lay out how I even came to this question. First off, you play a bunch of games, right? And you can beat them like nothing. Obviously, you work from home, so you can somewhat,
Multitask
you
a little
know,
bit.
yeah, exactly. That's what we'll call it. You can multitask a bit, but you'll definitely. I'm like, it's you're all over the map. You're completing these games left and right, and then also you have roommates and you have your wife, or and it takes work to maintain a happy, satisfying marriage and relationship to begin with, right? So in my life, I know that if I were to act as you do, I think
Yeah,
my
she would beat
relationship
your
would
ass.
it would deteriorate. But she doesn't. It's not like she's like hounding me or anything. She's very understanding, um, and she knows that I'm busy, and she knows that I want to do things and stuff. So she's very understanding about that. And all the times that I decide to not play a game and spend time with her are always my choice. It's never her like, "Hey, can you just like not, play that and just hang out with me?" It's never that,
Yeah.
you know. So like there's that, but I know for a fact that if I did that, it would devolve, or there would be a lot of, I don't know, stress or something, because we do need to communicate. Our relationship does need tending to for us to feel connected to one another, and for me to even feel connected with my friends and family. And right now, I'm in an interesting time because I have the least amount of friends. Everybody's getting married, moving away.
I'm
You
sorry.
know,
I'm sorry. It just sounds crazy to just say with so much confidence right there.
yeah, well, it's true. Like,
I have no friends.
I like I literally don't have many friends at all, unfortunately. They're all moving away, or they're all starting families, they all have kids, they're moving on in just moving into different directions in their lives. And yeah, so it already leaves you somewhat isolated. So then you start to cut those situations, those opportunities to hang out with them in half because you're choosing to play games instead, you know.
Yeah.
Um
Because it's not like
my
you're not
mom.
going to see them. It's more so you're not going to see them as casually as you did before, where it's like, hey, it's Thursday. We're just going to
Right.
hang out all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My cousin right now, who is also my best friend, or one of my best friends, she's having her first baby, right? And sadly, I have not visited her. One, or no, that's not true. I visited her twice, but she would like it in her mind that I would visit her more frequently. You know, given that she's just a stay-at-home pregnant lady now.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, like, okay,
Nah.
yesterday's a good example. It's just like, nah, I kind of just want to stay and play this. It just feels a lot easier. I don't know. So I don't. It all depends on like how seriously you're taking it. Like you have to be like your own parent, your own judge in some
Yeah,
way.
because that was me
You know.
today. I haven't played a video game until right before this podcast. Hold on. We have a special guest that's screaming at me. Hold on.
What?
Are you happy that you're in? Hi, welcome. This is your chance to say whatever you want to the podcast.
Fuck niggas.
She's been clawing at that door for like 5 minutes, and I've been in the background like, who was at the door? But it's just her.
She wanted in. It's her room too.
Yeah.
She's a part of the podcast.
Yeah, she's the reason I got this cover for all this fucking cat hair.
But you know what? I also lost the point that I was trying to illustrate, which was basically that when right now your girlfriend has, or your wife has, your roommates to keep her socially occupied, because they're there. I don't know how often they hang out and stuff. It sounds like they're together somewhat often.
Yeah, well, if we're all home,
So
we're all pretty much hanging out.
so I remember that was the problem when I had a roommate, was how often we would all hang out and not have time for just me and her, right? And I think that's different for many relationships, but I wondered, when you guys get your own place, when you guys have your own house on just you two, how much time would you be able to dedicate to gaming when it's like she's alone now? She's like
Right.
downstairs watching a show alone all the time. Or not all the time, but
It's
so
just
that's sort of where I was asking. I was like, how is that going to work for you? How do you think it'll change? And it might not even affect her at all. You guys have been together for 7+ years. It could be fine. But it did make me think, because I know how my relationship is, and I'm like, I wonder if it's like that for him or them. So I don't know. What do you think about that? Like, do you ever think about what it'll be like when it's just you two?
You know, that is an interesting dichotomy, because my wife just got a new job, but she's finally working from home like me as well too. So I don't know how that's going to be, but it's going to be interesting. But she was working a job where she had to essentially work a night shift. So she would be gone from like 4 to like 12. And that was kind of hard, not going to lie to you, because by the time she got home, I was asleep. I didn't really hang out with my roommates because it's like, all right, you guys finally got your alone time to do whatever. I'm going to just sit here and play the game. That's another reason why I play the game a lot, because it's like I could sit here and kiki and hang out with you guys, or I could just play a game until I got to go to bed, because my bedtime's at 10 p.m. anyway. So I'm going to go to bed, right, just play the game after I get off work, cook dinner, chill out, go to sleep.
Yeah.
She'll be home, and then I'll be good. So I did feel it, a lot of fatigue for her, because she would be here in the morning and she would just kind of just linger, like, hey, and I would be like at work or like, playing the game, and she'd be like,
yeah,
can we do something? I was like, yeah, we can sit here, we can drink some coffee together, we would like go for walks. But it's kind of like I felt for at that moment, I was like, but it was more so her work schedule that was kind of fucking everything up, because she's here,
right,
and I see her every morning, but I'm at work, so it's not like I can just be like, hey, babe, what do you want to do? We can go out. We can do this. I have to sit here. I have to work. So it was a little hard. I don't know how it's going to be. We'll see in the future. Probably by next episode, I'll probably be like, it's straight. but I don't know.
Next episode, when are you guys moving? Wait, what?
No. This is like a 2-year plan, so you're good. Yeah, this is like a year.
Okay.
Maybe next year, maybe the year after, depending on the way to fund type of thing. So,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't know, because we haven't lived alone. But one of the things I will say, like a big factor into us getting married is the fact that we're very comfortable in each other's silence. Have you ever,
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe that, but like, have you ever like had a relationship where you would go over to your girl's house, or your girl would come over to your house, and you're chilling, you're doing your own thing, and they come in and they just fester. They're like, we need to do something together. You need to stop what you're doing to put your attention on me. Like
Uh-huh.
like I always hated that shit. And she can do her own thing. She can sit right here just like the cat, and do her own thing, and I can sit right here, and then we can hop in and out of each other's spaces whatever time, and be perfectly okay. And then we can both look at each other and be like, "You want to do this? Okay, let's do this." But that also comes with our communication, and we also go on a lot of dates. Just
Okay.
I wouldn't really call them dates, but just a lot of solo excursions. We'll be like, hey, we're gonna go to the store, and then I'll just veer off onto a side road, and we'll stare at
Yeah.
houses in a random neighborhood, or especially around here because we have a lot of beaches and a lot of trails. So we'll
Yeah.
just be driving. I'll be like, hey, let's stop here. Let's walk this little trail real quick, and then we'll go somewhere else. So I think at least with my wife. I guess, see, it's so weird to say still. It's almost been a fucking year. It's still so weird to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, with my wife, it's I think it's straight. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I think about it a lot with like my roommates, where I'm like, damn. Because like, especially like one of my roommates, we watch anime a lot together. We like, watching TV shows. Like we've been trying to get into binging a couple of different classic animes like Cowboy Bebop, Evangelion, stuff that both of us just haven't watched. So we've been
You
trying to
haven't
get into
seen
that.
Evangelion?
No, I have not.
And this
Listen.
nigga recommended me Beastars. Oh my god. This nigga's like, dude, you need to watch it. And nigga hasn't even seen
Bro,
Evangelion.
but like anime to me starts with Naruto post. Like it's a post Naruto anime that I'm like associated with because Naruto was my anime. So like
That's the equivalent. I'm sorry, I'm about to say something crazy, but that's the equivalent of like if a hip hop said, if a hip hop head said like hip hop starts with Drake for me.
but to a lot of people, that's a
It
true
does.
statement. It's a post
Yeah.
Drake era, 2008 post. That's when I started
Yeah.
listening to hip hop. I don't know Kanye, college dropout Kanye. I only know graduation up Kanye. Like there's niggas like that.
Yeah.
They
That's
don't know
crazy.
Lil Wayne
Oh,
when
yeah,
he was
there's-
like bling bling. They don't know, like they only listen to the Carter 3 up. They don't listen to the Carter 2. They don't know nothing about the Carter 1. They don't know the Block is Hot. They're not real Yeezy fans.
It's true, but yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter if you. I mean, it's so crazy because like I got all my friends into Naruto. Like I was pushing Naruto heavy,
Everybody
You
need to
know.
watch this Naruto shit. This shit hard.
and I really liked it, and it was more. I like Naruto, but when I think back on it, I'm like, well, I wasn't like super into it. Like I don't know, like it just wasn't that.
Can
Like I
tell
thought
you
it was
some
good,
deep,
but
Can I tell you some deep cutted lore?
okay.
So
About Naruto?
No, just in general.
Oh,
So
okay.
back in the day, there was a Naruto role playing forum, and I joined it, and I had to come up with a username, and
Yeah.
I from mistranslations because this is before you had wiki sites and shit. There was a
Yeah.
fan site that had like a comprehensive guide of everything, and for the third
Okay.
Hokage, who was my favorite character at the time because he just died.
Yeah.
They had a in pronunciation. What is it?
A mispronunciation?
Not mispronunciation. Mistranslation. There we go.
Oh,
Of
okay.
The third
okay.
Hokage's Japanese name. It's San Daime.
Okay.
They had it as San Daime.
And that's where it came from?
That's where it came from. Me joining a Naruto role playing forum at like 8 years old. Yeah,
Wow.
and it stuck with me. And 20 years
That's
later,
kinda cool, though.
I fucking hate it. Everybody, Sandime, Surume, how do you pronounce it? Just Sandi, bro. Just Sandi. Don't worry about the
Yeah.
rest. We'll cut the rest.
Well, that's sort of why my name, like my alias or whatever, Bendez. I had to. People would say it weird. Like
How would they
I
say it? Would
had
they be
to,
like Bendez?
like they would say.
Bendez.
Well, I think what okay. So initially, I think it was Bendezzer, and so I would. It was only Bendezzer. So people would say Bendezzer,
Ooh.
and I was like,
That would
what?
piss
So
me
I had to
off.
add. I had to, yeah, they didn't know, and I had to like add an additional Z in there so that they know it's like pronounced a specific like way. You can't
As
do, yeah. And then also I just took it off just for simplicity for some people. But yeah, so it's, I don't know, the whole like mispronouncing of your usernames is funny. It's funny, but
yeah, you don't gotta pronounce the whole thing. You can just abbreviate most people's names. Just be like, "Hey, what's good?" and just say whatever you can pronounce out of the name.
yeah. But yeah, back to like Naruto. Yeah, it's got all my friends into that, and yeah, they got really heavy into it. Like more than they surpassed my passion and interest of it to
And
the
you were
point where
like,
like friends were like, "Hey, yeah."
yeah, you're
People like
"Whoa."
they would like ask me, "Hey, like, are you did you watch this? Did you watch like this movie? Or I'm sorry, not movie. Did you watch this season? Are you watching Boruto? Like did you watch?" I'm like, dude, I stopped watching Naruto after Pain.
Yeah, I
The
didn't even get that
Pain,
far.
like, yeah, like I got like once it got to Naruto Shippuden and Pain, and then after that, like the games really filled in most of my
Yeah,
knowledge for
you
it.
had to Dragon Ball Z it. I've still never
Yeah,
watched
exactly.
actual Dragon Ball Z to this day. I've only know the story because of the video games.
Yeah, same. And
Yeah,
I
I don't care
have little
to.
interest in watching Dragon Ball Z
Yeah,
also.
Dragon Ball Z Abridged is as far as I'll go.
Yeah, the from what I can tell, the game's cutscenes are better than the anime, so I really can't,
And it's 1-to-1, so yeah.
but so yeah, but it's just kind of interesting that like Naruto story there.
Yeah.
So
How old
but
were you
speaking
when
of
you got
like,
everybody into Naruto? What age range was that?
I was 17.
Oh, so this is deep. This is like everything was over type shit.
No,
Well,
no. Shippuden hadn't come out yet,
yeah,
but
because
the
if you were
main
17, I
Naruto,
was 12. And yeah, that'll be around
okay,
the time that, like, yeah, the
Shippuden
good
started
part, yeah,
to,
like pain and all
yeah.
that stuff was happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of Naruto was out by that time. We weren't watching like, we weren't doing the, what is it, simulcast where we would watch the episodes as they released. We were sort of catching up.
That's
Full Metal
crazy.
Alchemist though was for sure my like
That
that
was the
was my
one.
passion. Yeah,
That's
for me,
crazy.
I was like,
I remember my
that's the
dad
one.
got me into Naruto. We used to watch Tsunami together.
Yeah,
And I think the episode where Naruto like beats the shit out of Haku and goes like beast form for the first time, that came
yeah.
on and it just hooked me. And like 2 weeks later, apparently, everybody in third grade was obsessed with Naruto. They had like
Really?
the little Naruto like primer collectible books with the trading cards and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody and their mom loved Naruto from like third to fifth grade. It was like the shit. And for
Yeah.
me, when I moved up to DC, my older cousins, they was like a bunch of potheads just chilling in the basement. And I'm just on the computer looking up Naruto facts and like ship it in lore. And one of my cousins' homies, he was like, "You still watching Naruto? You need to get on this grown man Bleach shit." And he
Yeah.
put me on the Bleach. And then
Mm-hmm.
he was my sensei into every anime. He was like, "All right, now Death Note. All right, now Haruhi Suzumiya. All right, now this." And then we would just watch Comcast on demand, the anime channels. He'd be like, "Oh, this is a cool anime. You should watch this."
Yeah.
He got me into all the weird anime. So I blame him because he never said, "All right, now go back and watch Evangelion." Or like, "You
Yeah.
need to go back and watch Cowboy Bebop." He was just like, "Yo, all this stuff is cool. And now you can find
Had
your own shit."
Yeah, had he Well, yeah, I mean, there was nobody that really got me specifically into it. That's interesting too. Like I'm trying to think of what compelled me to watch the things that I did watch without that encouragement or like someone being like, "Hey, watch this now, watch this." Like
Yeah,
I
or hearing some
was
people in school talk about it or something.
how the fuck did I watch those? Like I don't know. Evangelion I also watched late too. I watched that post Naruto. I didn't watch that first and then Naruto.
Yeah.
Um
I don't know. I just think I feel like it's not gonna live up to the hype. Because Gurren Lagann did not live up to the hype. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, Gurren Lagann is so cool," and I'm just afraid that a lot of these older animes that everybody
Oh,
hypes
Gurren
up,
Lagann.
yeah,
Oh, Gurren
it's a cool
Lagann.
anime, but to me, it's not.
Damn.
It's not triggers. It's not one of Trigger's best. To me personally, I don't know.
What is one of Trigger's best?
Not definitely not Kill the Kill.
Definitely not. Okay.
I actually
funny.
just rewatched that. It's not up there. Actually, now I gotta think about that, bro.
No, Kill a Kill story wise,
Was good. I liked
it's
for the first
fine.
half. For the first half,
Yeah.
I think Penny and Stocking might be up there. I think that might be like one of their best ones.
Damn.
Yeah,
That speaks a lot to your tastes, I would say, because Gurren Lagann's definitely. I've only seen it once, but it's really good, for sure. I would say, but yeah, niggas overhype shit too. Like
yes, a lot. There's a lot of
I don't
anime.
know.
Yu Yu
Okay,
Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter. There's a lot of anime that people hype up, and I'm like,
yeah,
nah.
yeah. It's the problem too. Like you get spoiled on shit. It's like you can't. There's so many things that take inspiration from so many things that, you know, um, the previous thing. Okay, so like for example, the first Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire, right? That shit objectively is great. Like it's, and same for number 2. But when
Yes,
compared to like the fan servicey nature of, let's say, Spider-Verse or uh No Way Home, like if you show your kid those movies before you show them they're not gonna be like, what the,
they're
like
not going to
you've kind
understand what
of,
makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. Like
yeah,
Spider-Man,
and
no,
also
like those
like,
two take into account that you grew up with Spider-Man. Like you know Spider-Man already. You're just here to
yeah, and
see a different take on it.
they also like, it's like Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man walked so that, let's say, Spider-Verse and No Way Home could run. You
Yes.
know, like, so when you watch like that stuff first and then try to go back and you're like, oh, expecting like something fucking,
Magical,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, it's just different. Like those movies are so different, and it was a different time for what superheroes and things could do on film. So like watching certain anime now, like it's different, like because so much anime has been in some sense like inspired by other stuff, and it gets better or more creative, or they have more budget. Anime, like the anime industry has so much more money pumped into it now that they could
Yeah.
do something that looks as good as Chainsaw Man, or like
And it's a
have
lot more
shit that looks,
structured now. You know, by at least episode 6, there's going to be a big plot twist or something crazy that happens. By
yeah,
episodes 8 through 9 are probably not going to be like super good because the budget's going to just disappear for those episodes to get to the finale. Like you can kind of tell how animes are going to kind of run now. And I think that's
yeah,
my biggest issue.
because it's
Like,
more popular too now.
yeah.
So
Even Samurai Champloo, which is an anime I should like. I didn't really enjoy it, but I understood that at the time, as a weekly show, it probably would have slapped a lot. But
oh, you didn't like Samurai Champloo?
as a binge, no. But
Yeah,
I like the
I
story,
think,
I like the
yeah,
art style, but if I spaced it out, like it's kind of hard to do that. When you're trying to watch a show, it's kind of hard to be like, I'm gonna just take this show and every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm gonna watch one episode. It's kind of hard to do that.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know that it would make it better. You could totally binge Samurai Champloo. I think that's a fine way to watch it. I just think there's a level of being like, I guess, spoiled in some way, not in like the bad sense, but it's like if you think of media as a grand narrative, right? And like,
Right.
let's say, to bring it back to like, superheroes, like, Batman 89 and Superman and the original like X-Men film, like that's the beginning of the media story, right? But then you're watching, like, some people are consuming the things like Endgame. Like you're not going to watch Avengers Endgame and then be able to appreciate something like Batman 89
Or
in
even
the
the
same
original
way.
X-Men or something of the sorts like that.
Yeah, you're going to be like, this is fucking lame. It's like, well, dude,
Yeah,
the only
that's
reason
the
those
point.
things exist is because like that was just the progression. And now like you can't appreciate what those movies did for superheroes. And I mean, some of those movies are bad, but some of them are good in their own right. And so it's hard to, especially, it's just hard to appreciate some things with that idea that like you're watching the best of something or like the evolution of something and then going back to it and being like, oh, fucking Samurai Champloo is like not as great as people were making it seem, because it's like you've seen so much amazing,
Right.
revolutionary and inspired shit at this point that
That
it's like
it's no longer
watching Attack on Titan.
revolutionary at the time.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like the way Samurai Champloo, I mean, even still, like Samurai Champloo is still pretty unique, but a lot of hip hop and stuff like that has been infused in more and more anime in some sense, and like those character archetypes. But yeah, it's just crazy, like there's, and it happens with video games too, like playing
Yeah.
playing something like Baldur's Gate 3, like, which, for all accounts and purposes, people are saying it's like, one of the best RPGs. Imagine playing that and then trying to go back to Mass Effect. Like,
yeah, okay, this is a good segue.
You just spoiled it. You spoiled yourself on it.
This is a great segue, because I was going to touch on the fact on a couple of games that we've played that I think that might be the idea. I mean, not idea, yeah. But the way that I feel about those games is that because we've played so many games now, going back to, I'm trying to think, like,
yeah, you have to kind of be like a specific type of person to be able to appreciate it, or go in it with a specific lens. But
yeah, I guess Fear Effect was one of those ones that I was like, this is cool. But Chorokyu, to me, at the time, I wasn't really feeling it. But that's because I wasn't truly understanding what it was trying to do and how it was supposed to be consumed as a game, compared to Fear Effect or Warriors Orochi or State of Emergency, any other game that we played that season where you can beat it, sit down, play every level and beat it. You can't do that with Chorokyu. You got to live in that world.
Yeah, I do feel like we should have done the sequel, Road Trip, which is basically Chorokyu 2.
Yeah, I got it.
That we should maybe do that one at some point, because that's the one that I like far better. I don't know. I don't know why we did this one specifically and not Road Trip. But
I don't know. Just because I guess the name was Chorokyu, I guess. If we just like fuck it.
I have no clue. But yeah, so I don't know. There's something about like just that aspect of just spoiling something for yourself. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to go back and enjoy things in this similar way. Like,
so you think I'm not going to enjoy Mass Effect, bro?
I don't think you're going to enjoy Mass Effect, no.
Wow.
I don't. Maybe Mass Effect 2 a little bit more, but like you kind of spoiled yourself. That's okay. Like, that's perfectly fine.
But I mean, you never know, because it's a completely different setting. It's space opera.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is true. It is of a very different.
In Baldur's Gate, I kind of look at Baldur's Gate less as a video game, I guess, and more as like a lens
D&D
into
simulation.
Yeah, D&D simulation. Because a lot of the things, like, even there was some, because you literally roll dice when you like do checks.
Yeah.
I assume in Mass Effect, same like KOTOR, if your persuasion is high, it would just say persuasion failed, or deception failed, or whatever, intimidation failed. But with
they're not as RPG heavy.
Yeah, as Baldur's Gate, it'll roll. You'll see the roll, what you need to succeed the roll, and if you fail, there's certain consequences and actions that come out of that. So, for example, there was one time where I walked into a barn and I saw a goblin having sex with an ogre, and I failed the persuasion check to be like, "Oops, sorry, wrong house. I wasn't here. You can keep going." I failed it, and they attacked me. And it turns out later, that goblin had a sibling, and they asked questions like, "Where is so and so?" And I was like, I don't know. Yeah. But I got a new dialogue option because I killed him, to be able to be like, "Yeah, I killed him. What about it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So it adds little layers, and it's kind of fun to fail because a lot of people save scum where they're like, "Oh, I missed that roll. I'm gonna quick save and quick load and try it again." But this game, I didn't do it. I just kind of played it like Dungeons and Dragons, how you would do it with a dungeon master, and be like, "Oh, I failed, got a critical one. Oh no." Yeah. So Mass Effect, I would look at that more as a video game with a space opera story with RPG elements, less. I mean, more.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, now that I think about it, it is really different from Baldur's Gate, so I don't know that it'll ruin it for you. But like the point is basically that you can spoil yourself on things if you try. It's like having dessert before having, your dinner or something. You kind of just like spoil your appetite for that stuff. It's like, well, I've already had like the sweet thing, and now I'm not even that hungry anymore. And now this fucking steak just doesn't look as appetizing or isn't as appetizing because I already ruined my appetite.
I think that's a good reason why we moved 2 games that we were going to play this season back into the list. I guess because of Operation Raccoon City, it was just like, all right, I don't think I want to play another shooting game for a year. And we're going to queue up 2 more? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we still technically have 2 more shooters coming up, but
yeah, we often too talk about like games. We often talk about how we can't, in some way, as humans, can't appreciate everything. Like we can't appreciate games because we've experienced so much at this age now. So it's like harder to like take a game for what it is and really like enjoy it, because we're so experiential. Like we've built up all this experience with games. So now like when we play a game, we're like, oh, this is just this. And I've played games that are 10 times better than this. So this is ass. And now I'm bored. And now I can't enjoy it. Now I just not. So like it just sort of ruins a lot for us. It's just part of being human in some sense too.
Yeah, because that's exactly how I felt playing Extermination. I had to take it off the list. Yeah. It was one of those games we had on the list. For those that don't know, Extermination is a PlayStation 2 survival horror game where you play as a guy going into a Antarctica colony and you fight like weird slug monsters that are like powered up by water. And it's a pretty simple survival horror game, and it has jumping mechanics and stuff, which I thought was very interesting. But I played that one like right after playing through. Yeah, we played Fatal Frame. Then, I played Fatal Frame. Then I know I played another survival horror game with a fixed camera around that time, and I just couldn't get into it. I got super far, and I was just like, "This is not fun." But I just, like you said, I kept judging it to its contemporaries instead of judging it on its own merit and being like, well, this is cool, but it doesn't execute this well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's something that I think with this season, I've tried to really. I mean, I know like with Raccoon City, we compared like Resident Evil 6 and all that
but you have
in a
to
joking way.
Operation Raccoon City,
right?
Because of the context.
It came out so close to it too.
Yeah, and it expects you to play the other games to get the full context of that game. So you kind of have to compare it to everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is hard, especially because we play these games and like we still play newer games and we're just like
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how that is.
I'm kind of interested in Dirge of Cerberus though. This is going to be a good one. I'm very excited about this one. Just because now I know a little bit of Final Fantasy VII, so I think it'll hit a little bit better.
I'm excited for it. I'm super excited for it. That's a me game for sure. I'm curious to see how it'll hold up. Like me and one of the Discord people, Cade, we were talking about. I'm like, damn, Sonny's gonna hate this one for sure.
No,
I just remember it fondly. But
yeah, I only remember the very first stage, and even from renting it, but I don't really remember that much about it. But I did play the tutorial, and from what I played, it's got some style. And you know me,
super stylistic game.
Style wins me over 100%. A game could be ass, but if the style is on 1,000, I might bump it up to an 8 out of 10.
Well, at least it definitely has style, so that's definitely good. Check us out. I don't know if you can see this. It's so fucking bright. Hold on. Jesus, what the fucking exposure on this? It's insane. Can you see that?
Guava card. There we go.
Yeah. It's a wheat ale with guava and passion fruit. Thought I'd have a beer since we're hanging out. We're having a little hangout time. Okay. Yeah, I did beat Spider-Man Miles Morales. And it was... well, I hadn't played it before, obviously. I am getting ready for Spider-Man 2, which comes out soon. Super excited for that. Dude, Miles Morales is super... Insomniac just knows how to do the specific scenes where it's like literally a movie, but you're playing it, and it's so cool. Like that scene where, I mean, the opening scene with him fighting Rhino, and he's like going through the mall, and like the other Spider-Man is like moving things out of the way, saving people, and you're Miles Morales like steering. Like that shit was like
great opening.
This is where, yeah, like that is spoiler. Like you can't, after playing that, it's hard to go back to say like Ultimate Spider-Man on GameCube or something and really appreciate like what they were doing. Listen, because this shit is so cool. It's so
on the
Spider-Man
list too. Ultimate Spider-Man's on the list because that was the OG game. To me, Ultimate Spider-Man was that game that's your
Spider-Man, yeah.
That's my Spider-Man. But yeah, I love the Spider-Man.
I love that
games.
one.
Even like the first Spider-Man game had a good introduction when you fight the Kingpin and you're knocking him through the walls and slamming him down. It's not good, is it?
What? No, I've had it before. I was I was thinking, I'm like, oh, this is gonna get warm really quick. That's what I thought. I was like, shit. Damn. And but anyways, yeah, like Ultimate Spider-Man is great. And just quick aside here, did you know that Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects, X-Men Legends 2, Rise of the Apocalypse, and Ultimate Spider-Man all came out on the same day?
Are you serious? For real?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That's crazy. Because I've only ever played Ultimate Spider-Man. That's crazy. I never knew they all came out the same. What was Marvel thinking?
Well, it was also one was published by Activision, and then which was X-Men. Marvel. No, that's oh wait, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, that was X-Men. X-Men and Spider-Man were published by Activision, and Marvel Nemesis: Rise of the Imperfects is published by EA. So EA was competing with Activision, and Activision was like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna fucking drop these two." Yeah, well, yeah, like we'll fucking take all your sales right now, and they did. Obviously, Ultimate Spider-Man and X-Men Legends 2 are like some of the best hero games, so I thought that was interesting. But anyways, back to
Spider-Man.
Back to Miles Morales and all this. So yeah, I thought it was good. It was nice how short it was. Very well paced, I thought. I like the missions, the side missions, better than the original Spider-Man PS4.
Yes.
I thought they were more fleshed out, and obviously like they took the criticism to heart from them, like maybe the first one, and made them just like more varied, and like you're more engaged than them. A lot of cool side missions, I thought. I do like... So I struggle with this one. I feel like him being... like, I get it. He's been trained by Peter, and they have like those hologram simulation training things and all this. But I just feel like he's still so OP and like doing Spider-Man almost like he's Spider-Man better than Spider-Man nearly.
But that's because he's got extra powers. That's what makes him better. He's got electricity. He's gonna turn invisible. Like
I also think that the fact of giving him like all of Peter's powers and then 2 more OP powers,
they kind of did ham it with the electricity, like the electric boost and
being able to like absorb like fucking the energy from that shit. I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah, I was like, that's a little extreme.
You're like, I don't mind that he's able to do that, but like balance it. Like in the comics, like he has those abilities, like you were saying earlier, which I knew that, but I always, in my mind, I'm always like, okay, but what's why would you do that? Why would you make him like a super Spider-Man? Why wouldn't it just be like he can turn invisible and has bioelectricity, but like he can't stick to walls, or like he doesn't have spider sense, but he has it all. So it's like
so
it's kind of hard to care. Yeah, it's it almost takes away a little bit of his humanity and his vulnerability when he's just fucking. He can he can just let me just turn invisible.
He's Peter Parker, but better.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's fine as a game in terms of like, well, it's fun. I mean, I can turn invisible. That's cool. It makes it easier, I guess.
I get an insta KO move. I can just throw people.
Yeah. The bioelectricity looks great. That's cool. Yeah, it does bother me a little bit. And it but it didn't rob me of the experience. Like, I still enjoyed it. The whole Finn thing with the Tinkerer, I thought that was well done. There were some parts that I think were a little off, and her motivation feels a bit one-dimensional at some point. Yeah, like it feels very rushed at some point. And I was like, oh, you had time to flesh this out. But
it's very MCU villain of the movie-esque.
Yeah. And I wish they could have gone into more. Maybe not. Maybe it would have been too on the nose. But like the philosophical implication of righting a wrong, and obviously it's sort of like a revenge tale of her trying to get revenge on Roxxon for killing her cousin, or I don't know what the fuck that was. Some dude,
dad,
right?
I think it was her dad or grandfather, something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, like they kill, and then she's just gone to the dark side because of that. But like she's essentially justifying terrorism, and she has like a good point, because Roxxon is also evil in some way. Like they're very, So it's cool that they play around with that, but they don't. I feel like they could have really driven that home. I think that's kind of all I have to say about it.
Yeah,
I had to roll my eyes though at the Black Lives Matter moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
What about
it makes sense?
What about Uncle Aaron's?
It makes sense.
What about his song? Did you finish his song and hear that shitty ass?
No,
beat? Bro, that.
No, I didn't do any of that. I did like 2 of those missions.
Like the video, the RZA fucking with the it's like a drum machine. He makes like the worst beat of all time. It's like that, or it's just a bunch of noises and Miles is just bumping his head like, yeah, that was fire, and it's like, no, that was not fire, bro. But
yeah,
I mean, I feel you on that. It's a good game, and you played it right before Spider-Man 2, so you'll have all
I would
context.
say it's a great game. Yeah. I did like the Uncle Aaron and Peter thing. I thought that was done. His character in it was so much more fleshed out, and it was cool to see him try and protect Miles and like his whole reasoning, and that whole fight between them where it's like, I'm trying to protect you, and he's like, I'm trying to protect everybody else. I don't care about. I'm trying to be selfless, but you're so scared to lose another family member that you're willing to stop me from protecting other people, right? Which is inherently like, that's not what a hero does, right? Yeah. So I really liked that almost more than I liked the, him and his friend, kind of going at it. I do think that the Tinkerer, and this could just be a superhero problem in general, but dude, how does she have so much endurance?
I'm saying, bro, because how does she
she's
run up like that final jump up when they blew up? Like, how the fuck did she run up and get up in the air? Like, she should lose air. She should not be able to do that. Like, physically.
She's also just she's just a human. Like, she's going toe to toe with him with her little nanotech stuff, and I'm just like,
nah.
I get it's a game and stuff, but come on, she's a girl. She's a girl.
She's
first off,
17,
Peter should already be. Yeah, she's not muscular. How is she keeping up with somebody who has
literal
superhuman endurance? Yeah, I'm like, come on, beating Miles' ass. I'm like, okay, so then he's weak now. You're telling me
he was holding punches. He was like, I can't kill my shorty. I gotta hold my punches.
And that could have been a good reason, I have to hold back, but you're clearly whooping her ass. But then she
are punching her with full bioelectricity, throwing her out of windows and shit. You guys are fighting.
She's just taking it. I don't know. There should have been a different way to for her to be equal to, fight Miles Morales with his powers, but I don't know. I kind of don't like that with some like superhero stuff where I'm just like, why
How
are you
did you
being
get this?
lazy?
Yeah, like how did you get the strength to just survive this? Because you should be mush.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like your stamina, you should not be able to keep up with like everything Pete's doing, even if you have the technology that gives you armor and weapons. Like you're not that strong. You don't look that strong. Like,
Exactly.
I don't understand how you're fucking doing all
Yeah.
this, but it was a little over the top. But in some way, I think about it, I'm like, well, Miles is also new at this, so maybe
Yeah, he
he's
just
not
doesn't
as
understand.
good.
Yeah, I think that's
Yes.
kind of like that's how I felt the whole story of the game. That's why I was like when you said that you wish there was more Peter. It's kind of why I was
Yeah.
like I kind of disagree with that because I feel like it's more of a story of like Miles needs to learn this by himself. He can't have
You're right.
somebody holding his hand through this, so that
You're right.
when he beats the dog shit out of Peter with the symbiote suit in Spider-Man 2, it's gonna.
Oh, you
hit.
want that so bad,
Bro, since they showed that symbiote suit, I'm like, I can't wait for Miles to beat the fuck out of Peter in this shit, bro. I can't.
I'm
wait.
thinking he might kill him. I'm thinking
Nah.
they're gonna do their own thing with the story. I'm thinking they might like have Miles like take him out, or they'll do a whole a Spider-Man 2 thing where Peter will have to sacrifice himself essentially or something in order to save Miles
From Venom or something.
or like the city. Yeah, something like that. It's gonna be some.
Yeah, because we know the
like
final
that.
fight is gonna be Peter and Venom, but I'm feeling like the midway point to like strip the symbiote from Peter is gonna be Miles just beating the fuck out of Peter. Like, hey, you've gone too far, bro. I gotta beat your ass, and then he whoops his ass, and he's like, oh, I think that might be the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm theory crafting now. I don't know. I have a saved draft tweet where I'll just have like a GIF and everything. Like, I told you, he's gonna whoop your ass.
I could see it. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it, and this is something that I don't do with stuff. I don't like think about what's gonna happen in it because I feel like I rob myself a lot.
Oh,
of
you just let it
enjoyment when I
happen.
see
Oh,
it.
I'd be going.
So I don't
it.
even. No, yeah, like a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people watch movies that way and like and it's more normal. But for me, I've always just been like, I can't do that because then when I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's so much better. And then I watch it and I'm like, oh,
that wasn't what I
see.
thought.
I wanted this. I wanted that. Because I've done that to
feel you on
myself
that.
too, where I've ruined it.
Yeah, it depends on on the thing. Like if a show is predictable or a movie is predictable, I will start going ahead and being like, this is what's about to happen next. But yeah, like Severance, I just watched Severance. The entire time I watched that, I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. I was just watching like, what could happen next? What could possibly happen next? But
yeah, I heard that show's really good. Control, like corporate horror or something like that.
it is corporate horror. I can say it at least is corporate horror.
Yeah.
The rest, yeah.
But yeah, overall, Spider-Man Miles Morales, like I really enjoyed playing it. It was quick. There's lots of side stuff to do. There was a suit that I finally stuck with because we were talking about how ugly some of the suits.
All the
can
suits
be.
are ass, bro. In that game, there's 3 good suits.
Yeah, I thought the Into the Spider-Verse suit was pretty neat. Thought it was pretty cool, but I stuck with the end one where he's like wearing he's wearing a jacket and he has camo pants and boots. There's a hood on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like that one a lot. I just felt like that was the most him, I guess. If you notice, a lot of them had a hood on, so I feel like that's like what they're trying to like. That's a Miles Morales thing, is Spider-Man with the hood on.
Right.
So I thought it was cool that it had the hood, the jacket, and it was cold, and I was like, it feels like a different Spider-Man entirely, which I kind of liked.
Yeah. He's a cool dude.
Great game.
It's a good game.
I would say I don't like it as much as Spider-Man PS4, but it's definitely up there as one of the best games. Oh, I was going to say his physicality. I liked how they gave him different animations as he's swinging and he moves differently. It would be cool if like he started, and this would probably take way more animation cycles to do, but if they gave him like more, like less precise movement in the beginning, because he has this move where like you're
talking about the one where he like,
yeah,
they kind of do in the beginning. In the beginning, that is a gradual thing in the game. Where like in the beginning
Oh,
he swings and he's kind of like loose, and sometimes he'll swing with one arm, or he's a little
yeah.
bit wacky. And then towards the end,
I
he's
thought they
kind
kept. Oh, really? I thought they kept it throughout the whole game. I didn't
at
notice a
least I
change.
don't know. Have you played like anything like the game after you beat it, like any like the post game stuff? Because it might be post
No.
game. Because I do remember like seeing before I finished playing the game where I was like, oh, his animations have changed. Oh, that's cool.
Hmm.
But maybe
Hmm. Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
didn't play
I
any of
gotta
the
fact
post
check
game stuff.
myself on that. I feel like there might be some headcanon shit.
Though that would be sick, you know. But yeah, he
Yeah.
does like he swings stylishly for sure, and some of it looks a little like it's a little chaotic, you know. Like he kind of just he swings way differently than Peter does. There's a little bit of less elegance, like a freestyle sort of like swinging, which is cool. I love that. It's awesome, and even like the way he does takedowns with certain enemies was different, and it felt a little amateurish, but it was cool because it's like
That's
he's
what he
new at
is.
this.
Yeah, he just started.
Yeah, but then he's fucking taking Rhino out, and then battling for all intents and purposes Iron Man.
Right.
All right. So after Miles Morales, I started playing Alan Wake. I'm about 3 episodes in, and that shit is fire. I really like it. I can feel I feel like I'm gonna get tired of it soon for some reason because I feel like I've seen everything the game is going to offer me to do. You know,
I know what you mean.
so
In terms of gameplay,
gameplay,
yeah.
yeah. So I've already like I'm just like, okay, so this is kind of it. You're just gonna throw in, okay. But I do like the story. You know, I mean that's pretty cool. I've already said this in previous. I think I've said this in the Fatal Frame episode, but I like when a character has a flashlight. I think
They
just
just
flashlights in games are cool.
That's
Like
the whole point of
give me a
that game.
flashlight. Yeah,
That's
but I think
almost
the
why I added
cameras
Fragile Dreams to the list, because it has a flashlight and you can
does
point it
it?
around. Yeah, but you don't like Wii remotes, so
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, it's yeah. There's certain games for sure that don't implement like motion controls, right? But what I was gonna tell you was that the camera angle in it is really weird.
are you
Like it
playing? You're
almost
playing the
seems
remastered version too, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
The
but
like
it might be
the camera
different.
angles, it just so the field of view is like really wide, and and then like it always adjusts itself to the left, and I had to keep pressing like the stick to like make it go to the right. How I guess is like normal, like a Resident Evil game, right, where your character's
Right.
on the. So there's like that. I feel like I'm battling it a lot of the time because it's like moving and like
Yeah,
I
you're
don't know. It's
disorienting yourself.
interesting, but I don't know. It's good. I like it so
Yeah.
far. Too early to say how much I like it, but I'm yeah. So just positive impressions. Positive impressions. Have you played it before?
I did a little
A
bit. I
lot.
think I played the free trial on Xbox Live Arcade, but I do have it downloaded. It was between LA Noir and Alan Wake, and I figured LA Noir would probably be. That was a bad mistake. I figured LA Noir would be easier to sift through than Alan Wake. Because like you said, I want to do the same thing. I want to get through Alan Wake, then I want to play the Control DLC in preparation for Alan Wake 2. But I feel like I'll start falling back into the rabbit hole of Control and like pulling out the picket board with the tax, like, and then this goes here, and this person's related to here, and this is this, and I don't want to get into that yet. Mentally, I guess. Yeah, I want to save that for after Spider-Man, because that's the last. Those two games are the last two things I'm excited about for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I kind of was trying to figure out when to play Alan Wake, and I kind of forgot that I still had to go back and play the Control DLC. So I was like, oh fuck, because I was gonna wait. I was gonna Alan Wake 2 comes out late October, like the 28th or so, or something like that.
And Spider-Man comes out early October, right?
Yeah, like early to mid October. So I was kind of like, well, I'm not gonna.
One of these
I
games is
don't want
going
to
to
be in a
take the rest of
rush.
October.
Exactly. So I was like, I don't want to be in a rush trying to play Alan Wake and then the Control DLC. So let me just start playing that now against Dirge of Cerberus, and yeah, I'll handle it from there. And I'll probably do Sea of Stars after Spider-Man, I would imagine. We'll see.
Yeah.
We will see.
I'm RPG'd out because after LA Noire, Spider-Man, and Alan Wake, I only have 2 more goals left to do, and I'm done for the year. And that's Mass Effect and the Devil May Cry series. And one of these, I know why did I do that finger? And one of these, I know I can beat within like a time because it's just a replay. I'm just replaying through the series, just having fun. Just want to slice shit up. But the other one, it's like that's 100 hours maybe.
Mass Effect?
Yeah, because each one's like what, 30 hours, 40 hours.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Mass Effect the trilogy.
Yeah, the whole trilogy. Not
okay,
just
I thought you were
Mass
just saying
Effect
Mass
1.
Effect the first.
No, the whole trilogy. The anniversary collection. I want to knock out the whole thing.
I love that you have goals for for playing your games. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna beat this and this by
I made goals
by this year.
Started like this year. I had goals. I had played through the God of War series, played through the Devil May Cry series again, played through Mass Effect. I wanted to play Final Fantasy 15 before Final Fantasy 16.
As if they
yeah, as if that fucking mattered. I'm hip. Play nigga, let me just what the fuck? I forgot. I wrote it down. Where is this shit at? Here we go. Beat a Souls game, which I did in the first 7 days of the year. 100% of Musho game. I had Get to Expert in Guitar Hero again, but my old man hand said cross that off the list. And just play more backlog games, which is what I've been doing. So that was my
you wanted 100% a Musou game? What the fuck?
Listen, when I wrote those goals back in like December, I was like, okay, I can do that. I got all year. I can have it on in the background, just have my little Musou game. You know, this week I'm playing as Sun Sun Young. I'm gonna get her out the way. But no.
So that's grindy as fuck, and that could last you all year. But One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, I have like a 90% trophy.
That's funny because that's the exact completion one I tried to 100%.
It's the easiest one, technically.
I just can't grind for money. That's the whole kill. It's the money part now. Like, I have enough badges. Like, I have Luffy maxed out, so it was kind of just me running through Treasure Log as Luffy, and I just got bored. And then right after that, I got bored, because that's also when Chris was doing it for Musa May. So I was like, okay, I'll play along, and I'll try to 100%, because I think he was trying to 100% Pirate Warriors 4, and he was doing the same thing, like, bro, it's a lot of money I have to grind now. And I didn't feel like doing it. I remember seeing him on stream. He was like, all right, I got all the achievements. It's just one more. And it's like, get 1 billion berries. He's like, almost gave up. But I gave up on that one. I think I tried Sengoku Basara as well. And I realized that you have to beat the character stories multiple times. And I didn't really like the combat of Sengoku Basara. It's not square, 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 triangle like Musou games. And it's weird because it plays like a Musou game, but it doesn't play like a Musou game. So I'm playing it like a Musou game, pressing square, square, triangle, triangle, square, 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 triangle, thinking I'm going to do something, but it's different button prompts and mechanics, and just the way that the stages were didn't really mesh with me mentally. So I was like, all right, and then I started Dynasty Warriors 8. No, Dynasty Warriors 7 Extreme Legends. And I gave up. I said, no, can't do this. I saw
Dynasty Warriors 7?
Yeah, with the Conquest screen, I said, not again. I'm not 12 years old. I cannot do this shit again. I do not have the time and patience.
Dude, you should do DW8 Extreme Large Edition or whatever, XL. CE, whatever.
I still need to play that. I still need to play 8, and I still need to play 9. I should, yeah.
If you like 7, you'll love 8, because it's just
same thing.
I mean, a lot of people say it's better 7, but it's.
Everybody says that, but like,
I'm telling you, yeah.
That's high hopes to live by. I just really fuck
I
with
look,
7.
it's not. It's. I played with 7. I played 7, and I'm like, oh, okay. So the leap from 7 to 8 isn't that large. It's just slightly better. Like it's better.
It's
but
7 Deluxe.
It's like I don't know. I'll put it in percentage. It's like 25% better, if that makes any sense. So it's not like, oh my god, this is so much better than 7. It's just like, oh cool, they polished up some stuff. It's kind of cool. Like, all right, yeah, and it has like the town. I forget what it's called. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't think I ever did know how to pronounce it, but it has like this palace building essentially where
you kind of build conquest mode and stuff where you do all that stuff.
Yeah, it's called. I don't know. I forget what it's called, but it's a good mode for sure, and it's like more. It's improved upon, I would say. But yeah, don't go into it expecting like, oh yeah, this is fucking like way better. It's at the heart it's still the same, but there's some nice little accoutrements that make it better than 7.
Okay. Tweaker.
Yeah. Yeah, so fucking play it.
Yeah.
I think it has online too.
Maybe.
So we could play it.
We could play it.
The last time I played a Dynasty Warriors game, probably like 2 years ago now. Fuck.
Warriors Orochi?
Warriors Orochi was probably the last fucking game I played.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to end off on Warriors Orochi too. I was like, I don't want to just end off on Warriors Orochi. I kind of want to play something else, but I was like, nah.
All right, well, what are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, when are they gonna come out with Dynasty Warriors 10? I do a PS5 exclusive Dynasty Warriors game.
And it's not going to be open world this time. They already said that. That's the one thing we do know about it. It's not going to be open world. Oh man, I'm excited. I want them to do exactly what they did with Samurai Warriors 5. I want them to reboot it.
I was about to say,
gut half the roster, give us a new concise 36 or 48 characters.
Wait, hold on.
And like,
hold on, you're going too far.
I know, because that's the thing with Dynasty Warriors. Compared to Samurai Warriors, there's not a lot of characters you give a shit about because you don't give a shit about the factions in Samurai Warriors. Right. You're kind of just like, oh, that guy's cool. But Dynasty Warriors, like if they cut Jiang Wei again, I might cry.
So that's the thing. Like, I feel like, well, I think we played Samurai Warriors 5 at the same time, and I think I disagreed with you on some of the elements of cutting out. Especially,
but see, the thing is, when they cut the characters, they didn't make the new characters different.
I was going to say, there was a lot of clones.
Yeah, they had like 10 weapons, but they didn't have a good diversity. If they had like the same diversity as they had with the original Samurai Warriors games, I might be like, that was pretty cool. But it was, everybody's a Naginata and Norichi. Wasn't fun.
Yeah, they also, I think, were fighting themselves in that they wanted to make it realistic, but then they also did the whole manga anime style.
Right.
And then it came off, it just felt like it was in conflict with itself, where it was just like, why don't you just embrace one or the other?
Right.
Like, it'd be cool to have a more realistic looking, well, maybe not.
I think that's why I feel like Dynasty Warriors, because Dynasty Warriors is the realistic one.
See, I was about to say that. I feel like Dynasty Warriors is more muted, but I guess it's kind of melodramatic, like the style of the story and all that's pretty anime-ish. But they look more realistic.
Yeah. They're going to have very uniform designs as compared to... What's the guy in Samurai Warrior 4 that has like 5 different... Toshi? Is it Toshi? That has like 6 different weapons that he uses. He has like a spear in one hand and like 6 swords in the other hand or something crazy. Like... They allow you to do crazy shit like that in Samurai Warriors. They don't let you do that in Dynasty Warriors. The most you'll get is somebody using a ring. Or some fans with magic.
Well, they had that girl with like the claws and like the strings.
Oh, yeah. And they do have the flying swords.
Yeah, the flying sword. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, hold on. There's some characters that are just like, what's going on here?
He has a scroll. It's a gun.
Yeah. Dynasty Warriors 9 had the character that had like... Wait, isn't there a character that has a lightsaber? No, that's in Samurai Warriors 5.
Yeah, that was my favorite character, Nobunaga Oda. When you use his special and he goes...
Yeah. Damn, I haven't played those games in so long.
I know it's always good to have your junk food game, your junk food
Well,
muso to play.
speaking of, that's a good segue into my adventures in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. So
Are you
I've been playing
playing
that,
the third game or like the original first game?
the original first game.
Ooh,
So
interesting.
I have the PS3 version and the PS2 version. I don't know why I started playing it. I was just like, oh, let me just see how this PS3 version is, and God, dude, the frame rate,
10
it makes it
frames.
so hard. I'm
You
like,
throw one
what the
guy. The frame
how
rate
how
goes.
were
How do we deal with this
it's
this entire generation? I'm hip. That's kind of why I was like, I don't really want to collect for PlayStation or Xbox because there's a lot of games that are good, like Resonance of Fate. Oh my god, the frame rate when you're doing your little gun fu jumping in the air, 30. I mean,
see
2 frames a second.
this is the argument that we were just talking about, where it's like now we're spoiled with 60 frames because the way this game ran was not a big deal to me ever.
You just played it, yeah.
Ever. I just played it. I never cared, never like sure, like sometimes it'd get really bad and I'm okay, whatever. But like even when the game is running at a solid 30, it just doesn't feel right. Still, I'm just like, ugh, it's kinda like
This is gross. I don't like
and maybe
this.
maybe because I'm playing it on an HD screen, high def graphics. So my mind's like, okay, we're in next gen mode essentially, kind of like when
Yeah,
I'm playing on my PS5. Maybe I should just play the PS2 version so my brain can switch off and not think like, oh yeah, you're playing it on a CRT now at 4:3, and you can't be expecting 60 frames on
right.
this bitch. But it's it's fun. It's super charming. The game is so ugly. It's so, I remember even thinking this back then too, where I was and where I'm just like, I get like the camera's far, it's like isometric. But yeah, they really just did not care about like the textures of like the characters. They're just like slimy and wet looking.
Yeah, they're all greasy. Wolverine with his little like gray shirt just running around like this all day. It's literally one to
Yeah.
one with like his X-Men Legends like character. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
like
it's the
just port him back
same
in.
model design. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, X-Men Legends 2 I think looked better and more interesting in some way, but it yeah, some the characters, like some of their hands are like literal mitts.
Yeah.
like, like it's just like it's like
Storm.
damn. Yeah. It and then like I love the character selection screen. It does feel like a new
Moon Knight.
nostalgia where it's like them just like mannequins posted up frozen. Like Storm is like floating and Spider-Man is like kind of on his
Like
like
hanging
he's
and
swinging
stuff.
upside down. Yeah.
That's so
But everyone's
crazy
just
that this
like
is like imprinted in my mind. I can see where every character is in this, and then
mhm.
they don't have Iceman, but they do have Nightcrawler,
They do
right?
have Iceman.
Oh, they do have Iceman. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there's another. Is it
Nightcrawler's in
Blade?
there. Blade's in there too. I haven't unlocked him, but
Yeah,
I
Blade,
think
and
he's in
he's
there.
like Blade. He pulls out his
Yeah.
like pistols and shit. I love it.
Yeah, dude, it's super nostalgic, and it's a shame that it doesn't have trophies because
Oh yeah, it
I
was before
was
trophies.
that was sort of my main. I was like, I'll play the PS3 version because of the trophies, but now I'm like, just play the PS2 version. But yeah, it's so fucking ugly. It's slow. Some of the levels are pretty boring. I'm just like, damn.
Labyrinths. You're
This
playing
this
Diablo with 4 players.
it could have been more interesting. I don't know. I just think X-Men Legends 2, like all the places that you go in that game, just really elevate it. Like it really, like it's such a good. And you haven't played that one, right?
Nah, we tried to play X-Men Legends as a house, and I realized I'm too good of a gamer to play with them. I'm eluding myself. I'm too elite to play with them.
How do you mean?
Okay,
What
so
did you do?
we at first we kept dying. I had to use my action replay to hack in like infinite of the consumables so that we
Oh
would
my
be
god.
good and we can play through it
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But oftentimes everybody would die and I would be the only person that'd have to run all the way back, get the checkpoint, revive everybody, run all the way back. And so I was like, nah, either that or I would be trying to like guide everybody, like, hey, here's the map. We need to go here, guys. And everybody's like, where do we go? How do I get here? I'm stuck on a tree. And I'm like, all right, I got to play this by myself. I can't play this with everybody. This is just a me game. Yeah.
We have to play that game for sure. Either this first or the second. I want to say this.
I'm actually petitioning to add Ultimate Alliance. I think I added the first game, X-Men Legends, on the list, but now I'm thinking about it. I think we should add the second Ultimate Alliance on the list.
Yeah, that one would be the back of the rack one of the three, I would say, or
three technically, but it's a little too early.
Yeah, because three
is a little too soon.
Yeah, it's too. Yeah, it'd be.
But I love that game. I love that game so much.
It's awesome. It's so fucking awesome. That actually brings me into one of the topics I want to talk about, which is random obsessions. And right now, I've always sort of been into superheroes. All that, like, anybody that knows me, but it comes in waves. Where sometimes I'm just like more in the anime side, and I'm like, I don't really want to do anything with superheroes, whatever. And I'm like more like into retro anime or whatever, but it'll switch, like I had an Ant-Man obsession for a little bit where I was just like, I'm trying to read all the comics. I want more
to get
movies.
Into Ant-Man.
Yeah. Like I want to posters, figure, like I have an Ant-Man, figure. Let me grab it real quick. Not that you care, but see, I got this guy. It's like a penny.
That's a pretty good one. I like that. Yeah. The penny behind it, that's pretty cool.
I got this mug too.
The Ant-Man mug.
So yeah, like I get into these modes and I don't know what happened, but like I just like my mode right now is like X-Men. Like I don't know. I've always been into they're like probably my favorite superheroes, but you forget sometimes that you have that you like something a lot, right? And I don't know, like it just hit me one day where I was like, damn, I'm gonna watch like the old X-Men show. And
which one?
Oh, you know what I think?
Oh, you're talking about like the 90s one?
Yeah.
Because for me, my X-Men is X-Men Evolution.
Yeah. Which is also awesome. I also love that show.
It's a great show.
I have nostalgia for both of them, yeah. So I think what really started it was watching the X-Men movies with Elise. I don't know, like we had watched them a while back ago and she wanted to like, finish it. And so we watched all of them. And like in like 2 days, I think we even took a day off work and just fucking
like, just knock them out.
Yeah, we just watched them all. And then she wanted to, because we watched the original 3 so long ago, she wanted to rewatch those to compare them to like some like the newer ones. And like we watched Deadpool and all that. I'm like, damn. I really do love these movies. I love like these, characters. And
they're better than the Avengers. The X-Men are the best Marvel characters.
They're great. And so I was like, I never really wanted to get into comic books and start collecting those. At least like the single issues. So maybe I'll just have like, some collections and stuff.
The omnibuses are the best way to go if you're going to actually get comics.
Right.
You don't want
and they're expensive too.
Yeah, because look,
those bad boys are not cheap.
I still got the OGs for you. This is childhood right here. We got the OGs. All nice. My single issues of fucking Spider-Man over the years. This is so a headache to have. I'd rather just have the big ass omnibus, giant one book. This is Spider-Man compared to all this. There's a Deadpool in here. Like, why is there a Deadpool in here?
A random Secret Invasion?
Yeah, like this is how old this is. Tracy McGrady.
I remember that.
Yeah, man. I don't like collecting comic books. Comic books, it's weird.
It's like cartridges.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want cartridges. It's just
too cumbersome. I'd rather just have it digitally, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So, been really into like X-Men and just how much I love that series and all those heroes and stuff. So I started to try and get into some of like the more recent comics because I'm like, okay, I've read a good amount of some like the older stuff, and it gets messy and all this. So I was like, well, what's new? Like, what's the newest thing? And I heard about the House of X, Powers of X by Jonathan Hickman run, and I was just like, okay, this looks fucking weird, but I guess I'll pick
Oh,
it
that's
up.
the one with Professor X, and he can walk, and he has the big ass helmet and shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which apparently like is inspired by Grant Morrison's run of, which is like New X-Men, I think. He has like that helmet or something like that. I haven't read that run, so I don't really know how much it connects. But Jonathan Hickman did like want there to be a little bit of, cross pollination with some of the ideas and some of the characters and stuff, like the relationships. So I started reading that, blew my fucking mind what the fuck they did with the X-Men, because it really, you think of the X-Men in some way, like you think of Professor X as this character, as this like well-to-do, peacemaker, Martin Luther King-esque character, right?
Right.
And then you think of the X-Mansion, and then you think of all like, the enemies that they have and their relationships. You think about how everyone's like a teacher and they're like training and all this. So it just like says fuck that. It just the
Mutants
whole
is here, bro.
like it just like fuck that. It basically takes a legacy character, Moira McTaggart, makes her a mutant. She wasn't ever a mutant, so it makes her a mutant in this run, and she has the ability to reincarnate, essentially. So she figures out her mutant ability on her second life. She dies
Oof.
in her first life, and her second one, she's like, wait, what the fuck? She has all the memories, and she's going through her life, and she's like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is weird, like I don't know how to explain what's going on, because she's a mutant. She doesn't even, this was pre like mutants being more public, so she didn't know what she was or what was happening. And then on her third life, she figures it out, tries to come in contact with Professor X, and she like dies on a plane. So her third life is wasted. Goes into the fourth life, and like does all this shit, and finally gets to meet him, and like he turns out to be like an asshole, and so like she decides to do her own thing. And dude, it's just like crazy. I mean, she has like, I think it said that she has 10 lives essentially, and so she doesn't. She can't just keep doing this forever, but her goal is to understand mutants and to see like what their purpose is and all this, And ultimately, like, it's really, really sci-fi, and I'm not doing it justice because there are a lot of like things at play. But ultimately, she tells Xavier in one of her lives, I think her 9th life, she's like, look, in every life that I've lived, mutants get killed, they get murdered, they're discriminated against, they all die. Like, there's just no outcome.
Which is always, I always thought was weird as a idea when you have like Spider-Man and Captain America and like the Hulk in the same universe, and it's like,
yeah,
what the fuck? Why are you getting mad at me?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's and so she tells Xavier like, look, there's just no timeline where we come out of this good. Like your dream never comes to fruition. And he like fucking freaks out, and he's like, we have to do something different then. We have to change things. And so make a whole island. They make a whole nation. And
this nation, I remember this. Yeah, this is all coming together now. I read a little bit of this, but this is all coming together. Because then he makes Magneto like the ambassador or some shit, right?
Yeah. He makes, there's a couple people who are ambassadors, but yeah, he essentially goes to all their villains, and he's like, look, we need to come together and just fucking make our own nation, our own like nation state. And then we're going to offer the humans this flower that is like medicinal to humans. Like one of them, essentially, like it heals any illnesses of the mind. And also it works as like an antibiotic. So like it cures any like Alzheimer's and dementia, stuff like that. I can't, like, there's 3 main things that he trades with them, and they're all like really useful to humans, is the point. And he's like, look, in exchange for these 3 flowers, you're going to give mutants recognition as a sovereign state. We're going to be like essentially like a Wakanda, but just for mutants. you know,
Right.
and all your mutants that you have anywhere will officially be citizens of Krakoa, which is what their island is called. And so it sets the stage for like this whole new status quo of the X-Men, and they get so crazy with it. Like Xavier's kind of cold-blooded in this. He's just like,
That's one
I'm
thing I
done
do
with the
vividly
shit.
remember about this is that not only the fact that he could walk, but him being like,
Yeah.
I'll kill you guys if you get in my way. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Or yeah, he loses he's basically like, look, I've been shown what you guys do to us, and I have almost no sympathy. I don't want to harm you guys, but
at the same time,
I know what you guys are
fuck
capable
y'all.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they run into like, it's super sci-fi because it gets into like cloning and like resurrection and immortality. Like the mutants now have immortality because there's this group called the Five that all have these mutant abilities that on their own are useless, but when they come together, they can essentially create an embryonic human, which then Xavier can implant the consciousness into of someone who just died. So like there's a mission that happens in
All right. I'm reading.
wait, I thought wait, have you not read it?
I started reading it when it came out. But like I kind of dibble and dabble in the like Marvel comics. I don't really like stay in the continuity. I'll like hear a story or like a news post about it, and I'll be like, all right, I'll peep into that for a second, but then I'll dip back out before I get invested. But yeah, this sounds very interesting though. I'm gonna check this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really, really interesting. So my obsession with X-Men took me there, and it's just interesting to see someone do something so different. Like it was almost uncomfortable because it sort of paints mutants as a legitimate threat to mankind, and we're, as readers, we're human, so you almost start to not relate entirely to mutants because they're like, I don't know, like in the book you'll see
you said you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, damn, you're kind of yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's like
that's kind of how Ultimatum was a little bit. Where Magneto did something so fucked up that had so much of an effect on just the entire Ultimate Universe that it's like, yeah, you gotta take his head, bro. You can't let him stay like this, bro. You gotta end him. You can't. There's no saving him. He's gone. You gotta get him out of here. And I always thought that was such a cool dichotomy when it comes to at least the Ultimate Universe. When it came to a lot of, especially the X-Men, the Spider-Man, a lot of those. Where it's like, look, you gotta get them out of here, bro. You can't let this go. And I think that's the best part about certain comics is when it starts to get into less I'm the good guy punching the bad guy out for the week and more into I don't know what's going on. What could possibly happen next? I think those are the best comics.
Yeah, very, very nuanced. Very just like, whose side am I supposed to be on here exactly?
That's how I felt reading the Walking Dead comic. The Walking Dead comic is a lot like that too, where even the main 5 or 6 that you like really are supposed to be caring for, that are the main characters, sometimes even you as a reader will be like, no, not that part.
Yeah, it's just been an interesting journey. Now I have, after House of X, Powers of X, I've been reading like that run of X-Men comics, which is X-Men, The Marauders, Excalibur, X-Force, and Fallen Angels. And they're all collected in like these Dawn of X issues. So it's kind of like, it's kind of nice because they're like collected. Each issue of each of those runs
side series and stuff,
like a little thing. Yeah. So I've just been reading that, and it's all over the place, and I'm like, like that's why I don't really like comics. I'm like,
because once you have to like,
it can be
I started
all over
doing that with
place.
Shadow Man. I started reading Shadow Man, and then you have to like look up whatever we're reading order, and then it's got like 6 side comics. And you're like, wait, you can't read this one until you read this side volume over here of this random shit. It's like, nah, man.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to read the Ultimate Universe, and every time it's like, you got to start with Ultimate Iron Man first, then go like Ultimate Spider-Man 1 through 32, then go into like Ultimates. It's like, that's too much. I'm not trying to
the numbers. the numbers really fucking throw me off sometimes. I'm like, this is a whole new run, but you kept the numbers, so now we're like at 372. I'm like, I don't. That's so confusing.
That's why DC. That's
Like,
why I didn't like DC or the main line. New not New 52. That's why I didn't like DC mainly, but also that's why I didn't like 616 Earth because
okay,
it still kept all the old 50s, 60s
numbers and
stuff. So
okay,
it's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What is going on? I don't know. I wasn't here. I wasn't alive.
yeah. So earlier this week we talked about Reddit being fucking. There's some assholes on there for no reason. So Elise really likes Wolverine, and she likes the X-Men a lot as well. So I got her all new, all different Wolverine, which is a female Wolverine. She's been reading that, and she's been enjoying it. And I told her, I'm like, oh, maybe you should read House of X. Maybe you'll like that as well. You know, I was telling her that she might not, because it's really sci-fi. Like, it's heavy sci-fi. Some of the concepts. There was some sections of it where I'm like, I don't fucking know what's going on right now.
I'm just go with it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with it. And for her, I'm sure that would turn her off. But I was like, yeah, like, give it a shot. But then I was like, well, maybe you don't have full appreciation of the X-Men. Maybe you should read some like classic stories to really get where they're coming from. Like, I have some older comics. I'm like, maybe you should read those. I don't know. Let me ask X-Men Reddit.
Ooh, that's where you fucked up.
Dude,
oh my god.
Such an innocent question, dude. Innocent question. Hey guys, trying to get my girlfriend into X-Men into House of X, and I'm wondering if it should be like, if I should what stories I should show her that would give her a greater appreciation for some of the character dynamics and some of the characters and who they are, because I feel like when you're reading House of X,
you kind of have the history of those characters, even though
yeah,
it's kind of like a new interpretation that you can like go off of.
right. Yeah, exactly. So that's the point, but I feel like if you don't know who those characters are, them being introduced
It's just
the way they
mutants.
are, yeah, you're just like, I don't know who that is. I don't see why that's important. Like Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister and all them being in like the Quiet Council, which is like essentially Krakoa's government.
Yeah.
That is incredible if you know who those people are.
Yeah, the
But they don't-
backstories and the history that they have with those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, if you don't know, you're just like, I don't know who those people are. And they don't really make a show of it in the comic. I mean, they like have like a really cool panel of it, but they don't say like, oh, this person is this and this they just like, these people are going to join now. So that's my mentality, right? That there's a lot of elements that you could appreciate more if you really know the history of the X-Men. And I think Jonathan Hickman wrote it in that way, where he's taking something new, but he's also pulling from history so that readers who have read like the old shit can really like extract a lot of value of knowing these characters, and
Right.
damn, like they're all sitting in the same, like that's cool, and even other relationships that are in there. So I asked this question, dude. There's a specific asshole, a very specific one, who was like saying like I was gonna essentially blow it, essentially like, oh, you're not gonna do it right, you're gonna scare her away. He's like, this is what I hate about comic book nerds, is that they always trying to get people to read like every other comic before, like you're missing the point of Jonathan Hickman's run. And I'm just like,
Bro, I just
dude,
want to get some recommendations of some other comics to read, bro. Like, damn.
it's like, god damn. Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's so many people who are like, well, that's kind of missing the point. I'm like, no, you guys are acting like House of X, Powers of X, like anyone can just jump in. But I feel like there really is a lot more to appreciate if you read some of the like core X-Men comics to get to know some of these characters.
I think also too that's like I'm starting to learn it's more. I thought it was just a Twitter thing, but I'm learning it's a very social media, like every social media thing. You can say, like you said, hey, I want to get my girl into House of X and the more X-Men. What's some good stories just to highlight? They don't have to be connected. To showcase some of the characters before she reads the series, and they're like, you can't do that. You got to read the reading order, and it's like that's a whole different sentence. Like people start tagging in, they start interpreting what you say in the wrong light, and it just fucks the whole feng shui up and just trains. What's the word? Train wreck? steamroll.
Side rail.
Side rail. There we go.
Yeah.
Side rails it into a whole different can of worms that you weren't looking for.
Yeah.
I do it all the time on the MMO subreddit. I say one thing.
Oh, I'm
and people
sorry.
are
Sidetracking.
yeah, sidetracking.
Yeah.
I do it on the MMO subreddit all the time, and they're like, no, but that in game. I'm like, bro, we weren't talking about that, bro.
Yeah. There's so many assumptions into what I said. First off, there was niggas that thought I was forcing her to read comics. When I'm like, no, she has an interest in it. Yeah, she's asking me like, well, like, is it a good place to start? Maybe I should read I don't know, like whatever you think is best. And I'm like, I don't know what's best. I don't read X-Men comics like that. Yeah, so like maybe I'll ask And then second, people disagreed with me that this particular book, like House of X, Powers of X, that it's basically for newcomers, for like anybody can read it. And I'm like, that's true.
But at the same time,
that's not. Yeah, at the same time, dude, there's so much things that are happening. If you don't know who these characters are, some of the moments don't have that same punch, and the book doesn't explain why Mystique talking to Nightcrawler and asking him about his faith is kind of interesting because of their history, or like why Cyclops and Jean Grey like have their thing, and like there's like a lot of things in there.
Yeah, that even if you watch the movies, you still need a little bit more comic book reference to understand.
Or like why like Xavier essentially like agreeing with Magneto is like a really big thing, like there's so many things in it, like so many little moments. So I was like, whoa, this person did this person, like there's so many things. And
yeah,
for them to like I got like one of my comments got downvoted like so much. And
that should be hurting, why. Bro. When you get that negative,
like, what the
you'd be
fuck?
like,
yeah.
What did I say? No, I mean it.
I didn't have any attitude. I was trying to be as humble or not humble, just trying to have as much humility as possible, because I know these people are, and still that like my comment got torn, or not, it got downvoted into oblivion, like -5 or something. I'm like, how? Why? Like,
what did I do? I was just spitting facts I just wanted some answers. That's how it was for me with I had a moment like that with like MMOs. I was talking about like guilds, and I was like, I'm not trying to hop in no guild on no MMO that's got a Discord link. I just want y'all to talk in the game. And everybody was like, you're antisocial. You're wrong. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying.
It's toxic. And there is, I mean, the amount of venom for something so simple, like the amount of assumptions people made, the amount of like, well, you're doing it wrong, or you're gonna ruin it, or talking about a whole different point about comic book people, forcing comics on people. This is why people don't like comic books, because they get scared off.
That's the kind of the issue with like
that's comics. A whole separate that's a whole separate issue.
That's the whole issue with comics in like a nutshell for real, is that like, for example, if somebody was like, hey, I just watched Spider-Verse, I kind of want to get into Miles Morales. Where should I start? Do you start with the new Spider-Man, Miles Morales? Do you start with Ultimate Spider-Man? Do you start with, like, where do you start? And a lot of people, that it's hard with, or even if you were just like, I just like Peter Parker, I want to get into Peter Parker Spider-Man. Where do you start? Do you start with Ultimate? Do you start with Amazing? Do you start with the old Silver Age? Where do you start? And I think that's the hard part with a lot of comics, especially Marvel and DC, because there's so many years and so many stories, especially Batman, that you can go into. If you really wanted to get deep into the Batman lore, you can get into... There's a lot of good stories in there that you can get into. And I'm not even a DC fan like that. And I know a couple off the top, like Killing Joke and stuff, that are really good. But...
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
So it was an adventure, and it just really... I was like, I fucking hate all of you. I hate Reddit so much. Like, it's happened to me every once in a while, and I'm like, what is wrong with you guys?
That's why
like,
I'm a lurker. I'm a prime lurker now.
Oh yeah, like so am I too. Like, for sure. But sometimes I forget how. Especially
and you
like
hit that comment button real quick. You'd be like, I'm gonna just go ahead.
You forget sometimes like how how you're not going to be understood by anybody, and also 9 out of 10 people will misunderstand what you're asking. and they will also go on a whole other tangent.
Some people
And that,
use your comment as a stepping stone to go into their own point or tangent.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It was just not good. So
Don't go on
yeah.
Reddit.
Anyways, yeah. Don't go on Reddit, and everybody read House of X, Powers of X, and let
Yeah.
me know what you think about it. Because it's really it's it's good. There's some things I don't like about it for sure. I think it's a little. I don't know how much I like sci-fi sometimes. Like there's some highbrow sci-fi stuff. I'm just like, don't really care about this.
I like
Like,
grounded sci-fi.
it
I
gets too
don't.
alienating sometimes.
Yeah, I like either
When
sci-fi
you
if it comes to being like horror sci-fi.
yeah,
Like this is some unimaginable
like
thing.
Dead Space.
Yeah, like this is beyond my comprehension. Or if it's grounded, like kind of like Blade Runner or Cyberpunk or Prey. Prey is a good example. Yeah, where
Yeah,
that honestly is probably one of the best sci-fi things I've ever experienced in my life. I'm giving this game so much high praises, but it's such a good game. Like it's still the best
I
game
don't know
I've
what.
played all year.
I don't even know what game that fucking is.
Prey 2006. That game is amazing. I can't not give it as much praises as I possibly can.
I'm guessing it's only on PC or Xbox or something, right?
Yeah, it's only a
Yeah,
PC and
Windows.
Xbox game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why you're like, I
Um,
don't know what this shit is.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, I've heard of the name, and I know they were gonna reboot it, and I know that like there's that reimagining of it.
Yeah,
But that's different than
it's a
this game.
completely different. It's just the same game and well,
Different name
same name,
or same
different
game,
game.
different game, same name. Yeah,
Yeah,
is that what you said?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's. I've never experienced a game like we said. Like when you play a lot of games in the future, it kind of retro. You can't retrofit it. Like I think Silent Hill and Prey were like good outliers this year of games that I just played and was like, wow. Not even for the time, it was good. Like just wow. Just wow factor. Silent Hill, we talked about this on the last status check. I won't go into it more, but Prey is just wow. Like it's a great sci-fi game. When I tell you I have never experienced horror, like the genuine horror of an alien abduction during an
Mhm.
invasion is that's the first hour of gameplay. You start out in this bar, you're a Native American guy, and you kind of want to leave the reservation. You fought in the war in like the army and stuff, so you understood the outside world.
Mhm.
And your girlfriend, she still stays on the reservation. Your grandfather's still on the reservation. They're very devout Cherokees, and they're like no, and he's like pleading with them like we need to leave the reservation. Like we can't. You don't want to be stuck here like your whole life. There's so much more in the world that you want to see. And at the
Mhm.
exact same time, their entire like bar that they own gets sucked up into an alien invasion, and he has to go on an adventure to save his girlfriend and escape this alien invasion and everything that's going on. And just like the fact that you see everything because you get stuck in this bar for like a good 20 minutes when you start out, and there's so many
Mhm.
interactables. You can flush the toilet, you can look at yourself in the mirror and talk to yourself, you can mess with the jukebox that has real music and like play the slot machines, talk to the customers and stuff. And then you just get sucked in and you're strapped on and you're in first person watching as you go through the conveyor line and all the alien probing and invasion stuff that happens on top of just the effects, because this is portal effects before portal, gravity effects before gravity and stuff. It's incredible just playing through this game. It was one of those games I'm kind of happy that I got to experience.
Yeah, it looks. I've been thinking of getting an Xbox 360,
I
and
have two. There's one game that we need to play if you get an Xbox 360. There's two games actually. Now that I think about it, two JRPGs that we need to play if you get an Xbox 360.
what are they?
Infinite Undiscovery and Lost Odyssey.
Oh, right, right, right. Wait, Lost Odyssey is on other platforms, is it not?
No, it's only 360 exclusive.
Hmm.
Same with Blue Dragon.
Yeah, definitely need to get a 360. I
Or
mean,
just get
I
a better.
noticed that when I was getting like our shots for status checks, I'm like, because
These
I
are
was trying
all
to get
just
like some Wii games, PS2 games, PS3, and then I was like, oh right, we don't have any Xbox shit,
we
which I don't
we.
really.
I mean, there's nothing really to play. What you gonna play? Halo?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Like, there's nothing on Xbox except Jet Set Radio Future that would make me be like, yeah, I need this console. I guess Jade Empire. I guess
On the 360 or the original Xbox?
on the original Xbox, but I know 360. I know there's nothing on.
Can the original Xbox play?
No, 360. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
360 can play the
Play
original
original
Xbox
Xbox.
games. It can play most of
Okay.
them. I think there's like a select few that can't be played on Xbox 360, and I know now a lot of Xbox One games can be played on Xbox Series X, Xbox 360, and Xbox games can be played on Series X. Like they're very backwards compatible. So if you buy an Xbox, you're better off just buying the new Xbox. Plus, they like auto HDR and upscaling and stuff like that. It's automatic in those games. Some games even have like 60 frames per second and stuff like that built in. Are you like looking at Prey screenshots and being like, what the fuck?
I'm looking at the different models of it. But yeah, maybe getting like a Series X would just fucking make more sense.
Yeah. This is on
As if I have
PC.
that kind of money.
It's free on PC right now. It's abandonware, so it's legally distinct and you are okay to download it and play it for free.
I just don't like playing. I don't know.
You can plug your controller in. Come on, cut.
You'd have to walk me through that
Listen,
shit.
this game came out in 2006. I know this shit can run on your computer.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't think that it wouldn't be able to run.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're running a little long here. What do you want to do with? Do you want to skip upcoming games? Do you want to talk about movies? Do you want to wrap it up? What do you?
Well, we kind of talked about Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2. I'm not gonna lie. I brought TMNT in here, but I don't really have much to say.
You haven't seen it?
No, I have seen it, but I don't really have much to say. It was a good movie. It was a pretty good movie, but
yeah. The new one was good. I remember liking it a lot, except for the ending where it just didn't feel like Ninja Turtles anymore.
Yes,
when they take off their masks, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yes,
that's the whole point.
Yeah, I'm hip. That ending was that was a new school ending. That wasn't for us. That was for the new kids. But the rest of the movie, that was for us. But
yeah,
it was a good
Although
movie.
I will say that the characterization of each was also a little weak. Like I didn't think that any of them were like the characters we know them to be. And I know that at the end, like it's like, oh, Donatello's taking comedy courses, and Donatello's doing tech class, and Leo is like to show that they're gonna grow into those roles. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird to me.
I feel you on that, because they kind of do have their personalities, but they're all kind of the same at the same time.
Right.
Other than Raphael being bigger, but they all are pretty much the same.
Yeah. Very cool looking. There's a really I really like that that montage that played that Blackstreet song.
Oh yes, yeah. When they did they actually had to fight. Yeah.
That
was pretty good.
I was like not expecting this song in a movie like this. That was kind of badass.
The whole soundtrack, cool I wasn't really expecting it like that, but I should expect that from Seth Rogen to be like, I'm gonna just slide.
He's like, oh, the black people are gonna like this. The niggas is gonna like this one.
Let's play some Wu-Tang Clan real quick.
Yeah, let's put some Wu-Tang.
I actually didn't see Barbie. I was supposed to see Barbie, but I saw TMNT instead. Like we were going to go see Barbie. We were on the way to the theater to see Barbie, and we were like, oh shit, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All right, but let's go watch it.
Oh wow, yeah. Barbie is.
I don't really have interest in it. Yeah.
I don't think you'll care for it. I think most men, to be honest with you, are just like, yeah. No, it's a Oppenheimer is dope. Was dope. Did you like it?
I loved it. You know, it's funny. I love movies where you got to compare notes in your head from like 30 minutes ago and be like, okay.
That matches up. Yeah.
Those are my favorite kinds of movies. Those it's not even really like a historical or thriller or anything per se. It's just a funny ass movie for real. This man's was crying. He was really crying.
Oppenheimer is a funny
Yeah,
movie.
it is a funny movie, and like when you think about it, all the shit that happens, because it's kind of fucked up. Like, oh yeah, no, we
Okay.
can't blow up Kyoto. I went to my honeymoon there, because this is all real shit. Like, this really happened, so it makes it kind of fucked up. Like, yeah, you didn't blow up Kyoto because you went there with your wife.
Right. Right.
Yeah, or Oppenheimer just having a hose for some reason. Like, why the fuck Oppenheimer had a
Oh, I know,
hose,
right?
bro? Like, this man's had the
Yeah,
hose on deck. Robert Downey Jr. being the you're the
petty?
villain.
Being petty as fuck.
You're
Like,
the real
really?
villain.
Like, you were so salty about this moment that you fucking try to destroy him. Like, damn.
Like, really? All this leads to this, bro? Like, come on now.
Yeah.
You're doing too much.
But life really is like that, though. People
Man.
are like that, which is so sad. You know, that petty, that fucking vindictive, and like, you know, which I don't know. Like, it was a really good movie. I want to see it again. I did think that the fucking audio and the music was so loud and constant. I was like, damn, this music's just going the whole fucking time. Like,
and I watched that bitch
nonstop.
in like Dolby IMAX because I was expecting
Yeah.
a bomb to be OD. I was just sitting there like, bro, stop. Like, can you cool it? Especially with like the
music was
beginning with the particles and shit, and he was freaking out. I was like, bro, can you please stop with? I hate movies. This is my thing. I hate when movies, because I have tetanus myself. I hate when I hear like the ringing as an effect in the movie.
Okay.
Because it makes my ears ring way worse, and I'm like, please.
Yeah,
I
it's
start.
all over,
You'll
yeah.
catch me sometimes just plug in my ears, like watching like a military movie when somebody gets hit with a grenade or some shit. I'd be like, I don't want to hear that shit.
It was cool. It was a very good looking movie, well acted. There was a moment that was a little sexual that I thought was odd to include in the movie, considering the tone of it.
A lot of the sexual things that was going on with him and Florence Pugh, I thought
Florence Pugh,
wasn't really-
yeah.
yeah,
I
I,
was
didn't
like-
think that was really necessary, to be honest. But to be fair, a lot of sex scenes in movies I think are not necessary.
That's true. But in a movie like this, it stood out even more to me. I was like,
That was just
okay,
a waste of 15
there's
minutes.
I was like, yeah, there was not really. I don't know. I
Yeah, because
it
you're
tried-
already
it does-
invested in the rest of the bomb and the how this is working, how everything's building up, and they're just like, yeah, they're fucking now. And it's like,
Yeah,
stop, please.
I think it. I don't know. It tried to humanize him in some way and to add another like texture or layer to his relationship with his wife, who knows that he did that. So it gives her a bit more character in some way because she handled it she essentially excused it. You know, she was like, well, I'm still going to be with you, and then I'm going to defend you too at these hearings. So there's like some elements to that worked, but I don't know. I haven't seen it since it came out, so it's hard to remember all the little things, but it was very solid. Barbie, honestly, you could skip. wait for that bitch to come on streaming. It's not bad. It's just like people, I think, are
People
overhyping
sliced it. Yeah. It was the
it's
Barbenheimer.
not-
They got caught up in the hype that you gotta watch Oppenheimer and you gotta watch Barbie. Like, they got caught up in the hype.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's perfectly
Yeah,
okay. I tried my best not to get caught up in the hype. That's why, like, my wife, she was like, when we went to go see Oppenheimer, she's like, do you want to see Barbie or Oppenheimer first? I was like, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And then she was like, okay, you want to go see Barbie? I was like, TMNT. We're not watching this
Did
shit.
she not want to watch Barbie?
She did, but I was telling her the same thing where I was like, I kind of know the gist of the Barbie movie without even watching it. They're all Barbie. Oh, they're all Barbies, I guess. And they start realizing that, oh shit, we're dolls. And then there's some metatextual, super deep meaning that's kind of forced onto everybody. I already know what this is going to be. And everybody's going to eat this up because they're just going to expect this to be Barbie the musical. Hey, we're in Barbie land. Like on some... Yeah, but it gets deeper. That's what I expected from Barbie, and that's probably from the consensus I'm hearing and seeing is that's pretty much the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah, it's a weird movie because it's also like, who the fuck is this movie for? Is it
type shit.
The movie,
Yeah.
like, there's some scenes in it where I'm like, oh yeah, I forget this is like for kids. But then some other scenes, I was like, oh shit, this movie's for like adults. And there's some parts that just don't mesh in tone. Not even in like who they're advertising the movie to, but like in tone, it's tonally a little weird sometimes. I'm just like, it's just strange to me. It's strange. But anyways, yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. Barbie's an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. I will say that the sets are really cool. The sets are like really well made, and it's cool to see like these toy sets in like a
full scale.
Yeah, like it's really, really cool stuff like that. Some cool dance numbers. You know, Margot Robbie is beautiful, so she's good to look at. Ryan Gosling is good in it.
He's good to look at.
He's good to look at. No, actually, I think I'm in the minority. I don't think Ryan Gosling is that good looking.
You know, I'm not gonna
okay,
lie
if we're
to
talking,
you.
if we're talking about the Ryans,
yeah, no, I wasn't gonna go that far. I was gonna say like in terms of like who's been winning the sexiest man alive for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
none of them are for real.
I think Reynolds is a better looking man than Gosling.
Yeah, Reynolds is a better looking Ryan.
Yeah, when I see there's something about Gosling, I'm like, I don't know, man, those eyes. They're too close together.
Paul Rudd won sexiest man alive?
Paul Rudd's a good looking man, but also, yeah, not sexiest man alive.
What the fuck? John Legend? Oh nah, they just giving Blake Shelton, they just giving this shit out to anybody. Yeah. I could be the sexiest. Well,
because they run out. They run out of people. It's like, well, who's the sexiest man alive now? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Paul Rudd was alive when Blake Shelton was, so like, it's
Matt
weird
Damon? He looks like a thumb. What the fuck?
He looks like a thumb from Spy Kids. Those
fucking thumbs.
Do you remember those fucking thumbs? Yeah.
Jude Law. This had to have been after fucking, what was that Christmas movie that Jude Law was in with Jack Black?
The Holiday?
Yeah, that had to have been after The Holiday.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Let's fucking wrap this up, because this is getting late. We're running at nearly 3 hours now.
Yeah. And now we'll talk about every sexy man alive right now. Because Harrison Ford is not the sexiest man alive in 1998. I can tell you that right now.
I love how this just devolved like into a structured thing, and then it's just like became all over the place. But it was fun. All right, so do you have any closing comments? Anything you want to say to the listeners for the second episode of Status Check?
Make sure you eat your vegetables, lotion your back and your legs. It's getting wintertime, so make sure you lotion those legs.
How do you apply lotion on your back?
You get somebody else and you say, hey bro, can you lotion my back?
This is why it's important to be married.
Or you could do and try if you're flexible enough. But if you're that flexible, then
you're fucked. Call me. Fucking call me. All right.
Figure it
Eat
out.
your vegetables, lotion your back
and your legs.
Yeah, you guys should all check out Alan Wake and Marvel Ultimate Alliance on PS3 just for the shits and giggles of the frame rate. House of X, Powers of X. That's a like good $30 comic, but I think it's a really good one. I think if you're familiar with the X-Men, this is just a really interesting read because of what it does to the evolution of that team and like the mutants and all that. Really fun stuff. And yeah, go watch Oppenheimer. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Hope you liked this episode. Sorry if it's too long. We will edit it down. Next, we would like to hear what you guys like, your opinions on comic books and movies and games, and any life stuff. That's always fun to talk about. So we thank you for joining us. Comment, like, and subscribe. Find
All
us
that
on Twitter.
jazz.
All that jazz. All right. You guys have a good night, a good day, and a
Evening.
good morning. Good evening.